It is stop number 5 of the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship, and this time round we head 209 k's northeast of Melbourne to country Victoria, not far from Benalla and located in the picturesque Glen wine region. Welcome everyone to Winton. Here, of course, home to Winton Motor Raceway, and a pivotal round as we arrive at the business end of the championship. Emma Francesco here with you. Thank you very much for joining our coverage. We've already had some very wet weather here this weekend, and would you believe it is just starting to spit, so it should make for some pretty tricky conditions for the racing later on this afternoon. Only a top of 13 degrees and track temperatures of 18. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, it is certainly an important round, especially for our Kawasaki Superbike coming into this round. The points, they certainly tell an impressive story. There's only 1 point in it, with Mike Jones on top from the Desmo Sport Ducati team, Crew Halliday in second, and Brian Starring rounding out that top 3. A lot can change very quickly though. Looking forward to some great close racing ahead. And of course, I'll be bringing you all the goss from pit lane, and the commentary will be brought to you from our very own Steve Martin and Phil Harlem.
Thanks very much, Emma. Great to be here at round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship from Winton Motor Raceway in Victoria. As you mentioned, it is a very tight and technical 3-kilometre circuit, Steve Martin, that's got a lot to offer, a lot of different riders and a lot of different bikes.
Yeah, it certainly has. It might only be 3 kilometres long, but I tell you what, there's lots of overtaking opportunities here, but you have to be very hard to make those moves. The spokes.com.au S's at the very start of this circuit, a perfect opportunity and place to pass. Tricky to pass into IMF though. Downhill, a little bit off camber there, and slippery this weekend. The Pirelli right-hander is a corner where you just got to take your time and get a good drive out into the next big long sweeper. It's bumpy through there. Mid-corner speed, you've got to be right on the top of your game through Suzuki. We've seen that particular corner there, turn 6, a place where you can nip up the inside. A bike that's nimble. Watch out for that there, because that's certainly got its advantages. The S's at the top of the circuit that we look at now, they might seem, when you look at them, feel pretty easy, but I'll tell you what, when you're out there, very easy to make a mistake on the edge of the tyre. You need the drive out of the Kawasaki turn 9 to make yourself in a good position to overtake into AGV turn 10. Blast up into M8 corner, and that is pretty much the last section of the circuit here. Out of Yamaha, we've got a good overtaking opportunity on the brakes. The bikes get very close here, 250 k's plus speed at this circuit makes this Winton very tricky and very exciting to race.
Speaking of qualifying, speaking of exciting, qualifying certainly fit that bill, with Mike Jones doing the fastest ever lap of the Winton Motor Raceway circuit, a 1 minute 19.9 to take pole position, the $500 Elite Roads pole position award, and the all-important point, Steve Martin, to take him one further point ahead of Crew Halliday in the championship. He'll be joined on that front row of the grid by Wayne Maxwell, and the man he leads by 2 points in the championship, Crew Halliday. Well, race 1 got underway earlier today with a great start off the line for Wayne Maxwell, but Mad Mike Jones was the man that led them down in towards turn 1 for the first time. But no surprise to see the very fast starting privateer Arthur Cece's make his way up into 3rd position ahead of Daniel Falzon and Brian Starring as they made their way through the spokes.com.au S's for the first time.
Yeah, Arthur Cece's having a very good ride up at the front there. Troy Herfoss, though, who had a terrible qualifying, had to work his way through the pack. There was a bit of a bottleneck halfway through the race. You can see the 2 leaders up the front, everybody else trying to get through Arthur Cece's. But this is what we were looking at, Phil, the big battle between Ducati and Suzuki. Marcus Kyoto went down, but this is where the action was. Mike Jones took the lead. Wayne Maxwell, though, he knew that he had to strike back, and he struck back quickly.
As we spoke about when we were doing the track preview, plenty of different opportunities for different riders on different bikes. You could see Jones use the advantage of his bike on the start-finish straight. Maxwell could turn that Suzuki and dived up the inside at the start of the S's many, many times. But you could see Jones's bike very fast on the straight. Maxwell played it smart there not to let him through and continued to lead through the spokes S's. And it was about this point late in the race where Wayne Maxwell made this small mistake. He didn't know if he could actually get back on terms with Mike Jones. He left himself with a lot of work to do as Jones had a 10 bike length lead.
It didn't take long for Troy Herfoss to make his way up through the pack into 4th position behind Crew Halliday. It's crucial this weekend for Halliday to get points. He's only 2 points off the lead heading into this weekend. He needs to get a good result. Back up front though, Maxwell made this move, and from that point he put the hammer down. He really did start to make ground on Mike Jones. Mike was trying his hardest to do everything he could, but Maxwell showed the domination of the Suzuki.
Yes, he was certainly putting plenty of coals in the furnace, the Wayne train, and started to really put the hammer down and pull out a lead. There was also great battle between Brian Starring and Matt Walters for Kawasaki honours, with the privateer really taking it to the factory PC Performance Team rider. But no one could take it to this man over the final laps. He had the perfect setup, he had the perfect bike, and he rode it perfectly to take the win over Mike Jones in 2nd place. And Troy Herfoss from 12th place on the grid, Steve Martin, fought his way through and got the better of Crew Halliday over the dying laps to take the final place on the podium in 3rd, with Crew Halliday good points for his championship in 4th.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a very exciting race, that's for sure, and a great one to watch.
Well, let's go down to Emma.
Thanks, guys. Exciting indeed for race 1. Well done to Wayne Maxwell. Now, one guy that's not racing this weekend is with me now, Glenn Allerton. I know you've had some injuries and you weren't sure whether you're going to race, you were going to test it. When and how did you come to the decision to pull the pin?
Yeah, so Friday was a really wet day, so we didn't really get to test out whether my wrist was okay. So on Saturday, we tried to do a few sessions, but I just can't brake and control the bike the way that I want to. So I'm not going to go out there and ride around just for the sake of riding. So it was a hard decision to make, but I got to sit this one out and wait for Phillip Island the next round.
We know you've been working really hard at your fitness, so we hope to see you in a few weeks' time. Just quickly, though, we just watched the highlights from race 1. Yeah. That had a bit of everything. Yeah,
it was pretty interesting. There was some tyre mixtures in there, so I know from having a look at the bikes and talking to the boys, Wayne Maxwell ran the harder tyre, which seemed to play off for him at the end of the race. He had good speed. Mike Jones looked like he ran the softer tyre, and it sort of fell apart at the end. But, at the start of that race, there was like a bit of a bottleneck behind Arthur Sissis, and it made it hard for the other guys to come from behind. But hopefully the weather stays nice and we can have another race. But everybody would have learnt from that race that Wayne used the hard tyre, and the whole grid will probably ride on the harder tyre for race 2. So, it'll be a more even playing field.
Thanks, Glenn. We hope to see you at Phillip Island.
Thanks.
All right, so going into race number 2, here is how it looks when we talk about those championship points. It is still Mike Jones leading, extended that lead to 5 points. Crew Halliday still sits in 2nd position, and Brian Starring in 3rd. But of course, here at Winton, a very tricky track indeed. Each of the manufacturers have different advantages. So let's get the lowdown from our very own Steve Martin.
The Kawasaki Superbikes this year is certainly hotting up. There's still 6 guys with a big chance of winning the championship. But today, I don't want to look at the riders, I want to look at the different configurations of motorcycles that are making this year as exciting as it is. First of all, let's have a look at the Suzuki. Of course, Suzuki have used a Screamer engine now for a long, long time, and they've done a lot of development on it. It's got Suzuki's variable cam timing system and a lot of electronic work which makes it soft and usable. The advantages of the Suzuki at the Winton circuit are pretty simple. It's got the speed and it's also got great stability, and it's that stability that's going to keep the rider fresh throughout the race. Yamaha use a different sort of technology though. Let's go and have a look. It's all big bang here at Yamaha when we're talking about the engine. Now, I don't want to delve too deep into the technicalities of that, but what it means is the bike has an uneven firing order. You can hear it when it's out on track. It's an inline 4, but it certainly sounds different to the other bikes. Now, what are the advantages of a big bang engine? Well, that means that the rear wheel pulses have more gap in between, and therefore the rear tyre has got more time to grip. With that extra grip comes more tyre life, and that is the advantage that Yamaha hope to have here at Winton. Here at Ducati they use capacity and grunt. Yes, nearly 1300 cc's out of the Panigale V-twin. A lot different to the inline 4s that we've looked at so far, but when you pull the throttle open on this bike, you certainly know about it. Doesn't have the same upper horsepower as the inline 4s, but the torque certainly makes up for it. And that makes it an easy bike to ride for the rider, especially around a twisty, bumpy circuit like this one here. The Honda Fireblade has used a Screamer engine, of course, since 1993 when it was first brought onto the market, so it's highly developed. But the thing that the Honda's got over the other guys is its handling advantage. It's got very soft power, but the frame on this bike, it's so developed now that it just is a dream to ride. And around a circuit like this where it's really physical, that's where Troy Herfoss is going to have his advantage. The Kawasaki ZX-10RR is brand new to the championship this year. This is the bike that you see winning World Superbike Championships for the last 3 or 4 years in a row in the hands of Jonathan Rea. It's made its way down under now. The advantages of this bike, it's sharp, it's certainly fast, and it's won races this year. Here at Winton, boy, watch out for it off the line and slipstreaming down the straight. Brian Starring on this machine is certainly up for a chance of winning. Well, there you have it. Each of the bikes has got its own strengths, and they're going to play into the hands of their riders out on track. Who will win? I don't know. Which bike will be strongest? We will find out soon.
Thank you very much to Steve Martin. We have an action-packed day ahead of us for Winton Motor Raceway racing, starting for YMI Supersport 300 very soon. Kawasaki Superbike, their final race, race number 2 for their weekend, and Motorsports TV Supersport not too far away. Will Tom DeParis get his 11th win for the 2019 season? A quick break here. We are live from Winton Motor Raceway. Stick with us. That's it.
Righto, ladies and gentlemen, we're back for race number 3 of the YMI Supersport 300. Third and final race of the day. And see if bike number 3B3 can continue his run with 2 wins for Yanni Shaw. And this comes out to be an exciting lap. So I'll be out there to the warm-up lap very shortly. The weekend for these boys. And girls, get off the line. He's been managing to get himself up to the relatively towards the front. It's been Maxi Stoker, Luke Johnson on the Pro Works Kawasaki. And there will be a vacancy there with Ben Baker not taking the part in it. Of course, the rib sheet hasn't been adjusted. Then after the cut race, they're taking it back to the league.
And we're away in the Supersport 300 race for the day, the third of their classes or their races for the weekend. And it is Maxi Stouffer that's got a great jump off the line and up into second place. It's Luke Power on board bike number 25 as they come through. Sorry, Luke Johnson on bike number 25 as they come through the first corners. Yanni Shaw's now up to third place, and Seth Crump, who was so strong in the earlier races, Steve Martin, is up into fourth on board that KTM.
Yeah, definitely good to see Seth Crump, and also saw Brandon Demery, who's been working his way through the pack this weekend. Hunter Ford, not such a good start this time out, but keep an eye on the number 20 back there in fifth position at the moment, because one thing we know from him, he's hard and fast, and he will make his way to the front quite quickly.
Well, so far this weekend, we have seen Yanni Shaw break through for his first victory in the YMI Supersport 300 class. He backed it up with victory again this morning, so he's 2 from 2 so far out of the 2 races. And championship leader coming into this round, Max Stouffer, currently leads the race with Yanni Shaw back in third position. It's only the first lap, and we've seen so far this weekend, Steve Martin, that about lap 2 to 3 is where the tyres are fully warm because we've got cold track temperatures, that the riders really start to push hard, and we can get a fair indication of what the pace is for these riders.
Absolutely. Massive weekend here for these 300 riders as well. Maxi Stouffer didn't get off on the best foot, had a crash in one of the races earlier this weekend, but he's back where he belongs now at the head of this field. But I tell you what, there's a gaggle of riders that want to beat him to that finish line.
Well, as they come across the line to finish the first of their 9 laps, it is a 3-man freight train abreast as they come up the straight, with Yanni Shaw taking the lead, with Seth Crump up into second, and Luke Johnson on board bike number 25 up into a third position as they come across the old start-finish line. Look for Hunter Ford making his way forward, and Senna Agius, the victor at the last round on board bike number 81, starting to make his presence felt as well. He had a strong ride in race number 2. Unfortunately, his start was a little bit too quick, and he got pinged with a 10-second jump start penalty.
Well, it looks like we've got a clean start this time out, so good for Senna Agius. The position he gets in this race will be the position on track, so Senna Agius in with a big chance. But I'll tell you what, number 25 there, Luke Johnson, this is the best I've seen him riding in a long time.
He's doing a great job this weekend, is Luke Johnson. Just wondering why he's back on the R3, because he has been riding the Ninja 400 this weekend. Maybe they can't quite find a setup for it.
Well, he's doing a pretty good job on the R3, isn't he? So it's good to see him up there in that third position now. When you're dicing around with guys like Brandon Demery there, who's made his way from a tardy start all the way up to the front. So Brandon Demery is putting himself back in the frame. Yeah,
I think Brandon Demery just moved up one further position there as well, down into the AGV corner, as the race continues to be led by bike number 333, Yanni Shaw.
Now, Yanni Shaw's been in this class for quite a few years now, but he's sort of lacked the success that he's having this weekend. He's already run 2 races, and this one, incredibly, he's right up there again. It seems to all have clicked for him this weekend.
Yeah, it is. It's all been going well. Another rider that's had a fair amount of bad luck this year is the man that's just dived up the inside to take the lead, Seth Crump. He has had a disastrous year in relation to bad luck. The only luck he's had this year has all been bad, been taken out at several rounds, and finally we saw this weekend back running at the front on the podium yesterday afternoon, and running at the front of the race this morning. Unfortunately, before some incidents over the last couple of laps, pushed him all the way back and just outside the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. KTM mounted Seth Crump doing a brilliant job on that machine there, the number 57 machine. He really is managing to stretch it out. The advantages of that bike, the single-cylinder 390, is through this back section of the circuit.
Brandon Demery just went up the inside of Hunter Ford as well, so he's moved up one further position at the start of the end of the Suzuki sweeper and into the YMI corner. So there's still Seth Crump leading from Yanni Shaw, but the man on a real charge is Brandon Demery, now up to third position.
Demery is on a charge, isn't he? He is so good in the early laps of these races. It doesn't really matter where he qualifies. He's not scared to stuff it up the inside, and that's what he does good, and that's why he's a multiple Australian champion in this class.
Hunter Ford back to a fifth position. Then it's Maxi Stouffer on board bike number 27. We were saying this morning, Steve Martin, 12 months ago, this is where Max Stouffer announced himself as Johnson comes back up the inside on board bike number 25. A big move into MA corner. He had a handful of front brake and he was still able to get the bike stopped and turned and maintain corner speed through those 2 important corners that are in a lot of the classes ridden like a complex.
Brandon Demery just takes his hand off the handlebar there and gives a bit of a wave. Hunter Ford slipstreams him past and gets him down that start-finish straight there. So Hunter Ford moves forward and got a good drive up the inside. Looks like he's going to go up the inside of the number 25 rider. Can't do it. So head through now, down into 5.
This lead group, if anything, is all starting to bunch up a little bit now, because a few riders have joined the back of the group. Zach Levy in 8th, Luke Power in 9th, and I think Lockie Taylor in position number 10 has also just about tagged himself onto the back of this group as we snake our way down through Suzuki and into YMF. Demery tries to get up the inside of Hunter Ford. Oh, there was no room to get through there.
No, he's tried a few times. That's one of his favourite overtaking spots. But it's Seth Crump at the front more than not at the moment, and that's the way that you win these races. You've got to be up the front. Look at number 27, Maxi Stauffer. He has dropped back a little bit, hasn't he? He was leading a couple of laps ago.
Well, when you think about it, he's dropped back a little bit in track position, but not in time, because they're so tightly packed now. As Senna Adjus comes down the inside of Brandon Demery, I think you'll find too, and tries to get up the inside, couldn't quite get the job done. Demery has maintained position there in 5th position, but right behind him is bike number 81, the victor at the last round at Morgan Park. Right behind him, championship leader Maxi Stauffer. A couple of drops of rain, Steve Martin appearing on the camera lens there. It's been hovering around all weekend, and it's come back in this first Supersport 300 race of the afternoon telecast, the third and final race for this class this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be brave to keep the throttle pinned when there's drops of rain falling on the circuit. It's hard from here to see how much there is, but nobody's backed off just yet.
They come up across the old start-finish line. Yanni Shaw gets into position to dive down the inside of our race leader, Seth Crump. So it's the 333 machine, the Crossing Cafe, out the front now on board the Kawasaki Ninja. So I've got Kawasaki Ninja leading from KTM RC390, and then Luke Johnson on board bike number 25, the Yamaha R3.
It's a pretty good mix of machines, and that's what I like about this class. It's not just a one-make class. They're all very, very competitive. So good to see. Demery up the inside of Adjus again. Good move by him, but he needs to find other places to overtake than just there, because he's got a lot of people in front of him that he needs to get past.
Well, with a move like that, you know he's been watching. If you saw the highlights of Superbike race number 1, that was one of Wayne Maxwell's favourite overtaking opportunities. Just behind Demery now, we've still got Hunter Ford on board bike number 20, and also Senna Adjus on board bike number 81. There's Zach Levy. Keep an eye out for him as the laps start to unfold on board bike number 87, the first ever champion in the Yamaha R3 Cup, and he's been riding the wheels off that Yamaha R3 all weekend.
Yeah, well, Demery was listening, because he overtook Hunter Ford. Hunter Ford looking to go up the inside again, and it looks like it's Seth Crump back out in front.
Yeah, big dive there at the MA corner on board the KTM. As they come out onto the start-finish straight, they'll come round to complete 5 laps, so we're just over half race distance for the third and final YMI Supersport 300 race for the weekend. Who was that diving up the inside? Luke Johnson on board bike number 25. He came from about 4th position to go up the inside of Brandon Demery and Seth Crump and take up the running in second behind Yanni Shaw. Here comes Crump back up the inside at turn 3. That was a big move, Steve Martin, as you mentioned in the track preview, a downhill off Canberra corner.
That was a brilliant move by Luke Johnson. He just held the throttle on, got right up the inside of Seth Crump. That is not easy to do, because Seth is one of the latest breakers. Brandon Demery almost had a go too, fought the better of it, and as they headed into the spokes.com.au corner, everyone got through. Hunter Ford on the inside now. Big move there. You can just see the bike moving and sliding on the edge of the tyre. That wouldn't slow Hunter down, though. He loves it when the bike starts to move around.
But I'll tell you what, there's more standing up going on out there than a game of musical chairs, with everyone diving up the inside of each other, riders having to adjust their line. Looking back through the field, I think Luke Power and Lockie Taylor are still hanging on to the back of this group. And I'm just trying to see who that is. There's one rider just hanging on the back behind Lockie Taylor. Is that Peter Nerlich, I think, maybe on board bike number 97. Then it's a pretty big 2.5 second gap back to the next group of riders, led by the, well, he probably won't mind me saying this, the veteran in this class, Benny Burke.
Senna Adjus has made a move now on Luke Johnson. So Senna Adjus is really starting to make himself felt in this class. Remember, last time out, Morgan Park, he won 3 from 3. It's taken him a little while to come up to speed with this track, but he's getting there now.
He certainly is, and his weekend is starting to get stronger and stronger as this race goes on. This is his best performance so far of the weekend as they come out of spokes.com.au, S's turn number 2, and up over the old start-finish line. It is still Seth Crump leading the race from Yanni Shaw, only just. There was nothing between them as they came across the line. The fastest lap of the race on the last lap was a 1:32.405 for Yanni Shaw, and a 1:32.485 and a 1:32.535 for our top 3. There is literally nothing in it.
Seth Crump back out front at the moment. Hunter Ford slowly working his way forward. Brandon Demery there about to do one of his moves. I don't know how he does that, but he just turns it on a dime. We've got a faller. That is number 31, John Quinn from Victoria on his Kawasaki. He's unfortunately not going to finish this one.
Seth Crump leads them through Kawasaki corner. Hunter Ford is up into second place now. He's managed to work his way forward. Where has Yanni Shaw gone? Yanni Shaw is not in that lead group. Now he's trying to find where he is. He's dropped back. He's back there behind Centre Aegis, in fact. So he must have got pushed wide in one of those corners. Look like bike number 333 is there behind the green Kawasaki bike number 81 of Centre Aegis. Another young rider with a lot of overseas experience, Steve Martin.
Certainly has. The man in front, Seth Crump, might not be as experienced, but I tell you what, he's certainly coming on strong in this 300 class now.
And he's got a bit of overseas experience this year, journeying over to the UK and racing in the BSB Championship. As Hunter Ford uses the slipstream to absolute perfection, comes up the inside, and Brandon Demery uses the double slipstream to even greater perfection and dives down the inside of Hunter Ford to take up the running in the lead and across the old start-finish line towards turn 3. Hunter Ford comes back strong, and so does Brandon Demery. We've had 6 changes of position in 2 corners.
It's always hard to predict what's going to happen in this one, but Yanni Shaw, the man who's won 2 from 3 so far, is still in a good position with a couple of laps to go.
Well, just noticing a little bit of a gap starting to open up between Yanni Shaw at the back of this lead group and then Max Stouffer back there in 6th position. Zach Levy, Luke Power, Luke Johnson and Lockie Taylor queued up behind Maxi Stouffer as well on board bike number 27 as they come round to start the run through the S's. As we see a replay now of someone losing it there at the rider that crashed before at turns 1 and turns 2, the spokes.com.au S's.
Yep, certainly was. Luckily he's okay. That was, of course, John Quinn, who we mentioned before. Picked the bike up completely okay, out of the way, and the race continues.
Well, Centre Aegis will be so happy with this race because he was outside of the top 10 in the race yesterday afternoon. And he was in the lead group, although he got that 10-second jump start penalty in the race earlier on today. But here he is, no jump start penalty, and he's up in 3rd position in the race in the dying stages. We're on the 8th lap, so they'll get the last lap board as they come across the line now. There it is, last lap board for Hunter Ford, our race leader. Seth Crump in the 2nd position. Centre Aegis dives in deep on the brakes on board bike number 81, but Seth Crump wasn't going to let him have it all his own way. He waited to the last minute to grab a handful of brake there. And now race 1 and 2 victor Yanni Shaw is back in 5th position. This will be a massive effort if he can get up there to take his 3rd victory for the weekend.
Well, things are about to get serious now. We've got 4 or 5 guys that really want to win this, and anyone can win it at this point in time. If it's going to be Yanni Shaw, though, he needs to start picking them off now. Hunter Ford, we know that he's the type of guy that can stretch the field. He's very smooth and he gets good drive, despite the size of him, out of the onto the long straights. Demery up the inside, gets past Seth Crump.
And he holds the drive out of the corner as well. I think Seth Crump may have had to pull out of the throttle a fraction, and going around the outside of him is Yanni Shaw. I don't think he'll have the run down into the Kawasaki corner either. The KTM does jump out of the corner pretty well. What can Yanni do as they come down the YMI straight into AGV corner? Centre Aegis is right up onto the back now of our race leader, Hunter Ford. Can he make a big dive-bombing raid on our race leader as they come down toward the MA corner? He's got good drive. He's got the slipstream as well, has Centre Aegis. He's on the outside. Hunter Ford pulled to the inside of the track. There's no way through there for Centre Aegis. He needs to get the drive out of the final corner and try and slipstream our current race leader, Hunter Ford, to the line if he's any hope of taking victory. But Hunter Ford has ridden those last corners to absolute perfection, Steve Martin. It's going to be a big dive from here for Centre Aegis, and he can't do it. He gets across the line in 2nd position. Hunter Ford takes the race win, and Brandon Demery, another podium for the rider on board bike number 11. He'll be over the moon with that. And Seth Crump, luckless Seth Crump, misses out once again on a podium on bike number 57 in 4th position. And Yanni Shaw, 2 from 2 so far this weekend, but he'll have to settle for 5th in race number 3.
Well, that was a pretty good way to start off the show, wasn't it? Impressive race. Any one of those top 5 or 6 guys could have won it. The championship leader, Max Stouffer, finished down in 6th. Great ride early on by Luke Johnson.
Certainly was, but what a cracking ride from Hunter Ford. As we said, he rode those final corners to absolute perfection. There was no way for Centre Aegis to get through, and he took the win in the end by 0.049 of a second. Brandon Demery takes the final place on the podium with a very slight victory over Seth Crump in the battle for third place. Yanni Shaw takes fifth, Maxi Stover sixth, Luke Power in seventh, Luke Johnson in eighth, Peter Nerlich in nine, a great ride from Peter, and Lockie Taylor rounds out the top 10 on board bike number 151.
Benny Burke, good job by him on the Kawasaki to finish in 11th. John Littris, 12th. A quiet weekend for John. Zach Levy, we normally see him up the front too. Tristan Adamson in 14th. Matt Brindle, 15th. Ryan Smith, 16th. Harry Parker in 17th. Silas Bunting and Zach Patendi. And Jacob Brulston down there in 20th.
Steph James took 21st position. Noel Mahon, 22nd. Craig White in 23rd. Josh Snowden in 24th. Jeremy Smock in position number 25. Greg Farrell, as we mentioned, once again running the sponsorship from the Prostate Cancer Foundation, the official charity of ASBK, in 26th position. And unfortunately, John Quinn and Dominic Fletcher failed to finish the race. But congratulations to our race winner. Hunter Fordy's been trying desperately all weekend, and hopefully that will bring a smile onto Hunter's face. We'll hear from our top three, but first a short break and then back to Winton for more action.
Oh, give me my jacket, will you? Thanks, mate.
Superbike Race 2, pit exit opening in less than 2 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Steph.
And welcome back to Winton Motor Raceway for round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. We have just seen an absolutely cracking third and final race for the YMI Supersport 300 class, with Hunter Ford taking the win over Senna Adjes and Brandon Demery. Let's have a look at the highlights of the third and final race for the Supersport 300s here at Winton this weekend. It was a great start from all of the riders on the front row of the grid, with Maxi Stover getting the jump from pole position and leading them down through the spokes.com.au S's for the first time. But the real cracking start went to Luke Johnson on board bike number 25.
Yeah, that was the best ride of the year for Luke Johnson. He managed to stay up near the front of the pack for most of the race, and that's, from my recollection, the first time we've seen that in a long time. But Senna Adjes had to work his way through the pack, and this was the best ride of him for the weekend. Yanni Shaw got himself back out front, which is something that we've seen him win 2 races this time out this weekend, but it wasn't to be. Seth Crump in the background there too. Seth having a good ride this time out, but Brandon Demery, another guy that came through the pack just to prove that qualifying doesn't matter too much.
The third and final race of the weekend actually saw more race leaders than any other race this weekend. Unfortunately, not all the riders made it to the finish. John Quinn on board bike number 31 crashed out at the spokes.com.au S's. But as they started the last lap, it was Hunter Ford leading from Senna Agius and Seth Crump, with Brandon Demery well and truly in the action, and also race 1 and 2 race winner Yanni Shaw on board bike number 33.
Senna Agius gave it everything he could coming into the last MA corner complex there, but there was nothing he could do about it. Hunter Ford had this part of the circuit nailed, snuck down behind the screen, hung on and got his first victory of the weekend with a well-deserved second place for the number 81 Senna Agius.
Yes, so Hunter Ford has been there or thereabouts all weekend, but finally managed to take a victory and cement himself 25 championship points for the YMI Supersport 300 Championship. Down to Emma with our top 3.
Brandon Demery, congratulations. 2 podiums for your weekend. Well done.
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. We started off a bit rough in 9th in the first race, so sort of compromised my weekend a little bit there, and same in 9th in qualifying. But we're happy to fight through and get a couple of podiums this weekend and get some points on the board after a few tough rounds of the year.
Well done, see you at PI. And in second position, Senna Agius, well done, your 7th podium and some much needed points for your season.
Yeah, thanks so much. I struggled all through the weekend. I got an unlucky jump start in race 2. Yeah, I was just battling with Hunter and I was just happy to get second.
Great work. And in first position, ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Hunter Ford, congratulations. How are the conditions out there for that one?
Oh, it was a bit slippery, sprinkled a little bit, but kind of just had to ride anyway. No one was slowing down, so we all went for it.
We will see you at PI, and we do have a very special presentation happening. Congratulations to Stephanie Kapalawi James. You'll be presented with this beautiful AGV helmet. Thank you to the Mayor of Benalla, Scott Upton, for being the fastest female this weekend. Well done, Steph.
Well, congratulations to our top 3, and also Steph James for being the fastest female here this weekend. She has ridden absolutely unbelievably. Superbike's coming up next, but before that, a short break here from Winton Motor Raceway.
It is a huge weekend for the Desmo Sport Ducati team, so I thought, why not get some goss away from the paddock, put my chauffeur skills to good use, and give them a lift to the track. I did agree to this all though before I knew they were staying out in Woodwater Town. Oi, Mike.
Oh. G'day, Emma.
You know there's accommodation in town, right?
Oh, really?
Like in civilization.
I don't know what's going on here.
Where are we?
I think we're lost.
Jump in.
All right, let's go.
All right. While we're here, I guess we should grab your boss.
Let's do it.
What is he doing?
He's out doing his morning training routine.
Hey, Troy Bayliss. You know you're not racing this weekend, right?
No racing for me, but I'm getting ready for the GP. Mike's got a couple of horsepower down there.
Jump in, mate.
Let's go.
Kim told me that you eat Wheat Bix for breakfast every single morning.
It's that mushed up Wheat Bix.
So let's just put it to you then, Mike. 1 point. You really need to win this weekend, right? No pressure.
Honestly, I've been up for 2 hours, I haven't had the coffee.
I know, I shouldn't even be talking right now.
Rare.
We'll stop and get a coffee. All right, question to both of you. How many times have people asked this question, but do you feel the pressure going into this weekend and for the rest of the year?
I don't.
You're not riding. You f***ed it up at the beginning of the year. Now I'm going to do the job for you.
Yeah, half a job.
Half a job.
Big shoes to fill for you.
Oh, you've got pretty small feet.
42. You know, so small feet, hard to beat.
All right, so we're going to play a little game. I'm going to say one word or a name, and Troy, you are going to say the first word that pops into your head. Mike Jones.
Munghead.
Troy Herfoss.
Oh, what's the... Hothead's 2 words. I'm going to do 1 word.
Ben Henry.
MacGyver.
Steve Martin.
Who?
Eminoda Francesco.
Cutie.
Oh! I'll take it, thanks. Greenies, mate. Can't take them anywhere. It's like they're famous or something. Cheers. All right, now you can actually have a proper conversation with me. All right, run a little bit late. Let's get there. Do this valet parking.
Thanks, Emma.
I've actually got to go and do some work, right? So, thank you. Enjoy the weekend and take your rubbish with you. Welcome back to Winton Motor Raceway, a very chilly Winton Motor Raceway. We're just about to get set and go racing for Kawasaki Superbike race number 2. And of course, I'm starting up here at pole position. Hey, a bit of rain falling, Mike, should make things very interesting.
Yeah, look, we've had a bit of sketchy weather over the past couple of days, and you know it shows it's going to be the case again today. Unfortunately, we got through the first race with a dry track, but it's looking like we could be a bit patchy for this one. So right at the moment, we're just keeping an eye on the sky and seeing what's coming. But I've got a feeling that we might be able to get away with it, and we'll see how we go.
Thanks, Mike. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
We'll keep walking down the grids and see who else we can find. It's Wayno starting in second. Of course, he won that very first race. Crew Halliday starting in third position, but finished that last one in fourth. I know you're not happy with fourth position.
No, we still went pretty good. It's a little disappointing. We didn't. My competition got points on me, but we've tried something new on the bike. We just got to see what this weather's doing. It's pretty crazy. So everyone knows there's a lot of silicon patches around here, and the water doesn't actually sit in the silicon, so could be a bit icy. But just got to get to the end, get as many points as we can, and just be safe.
Take it easy out there. Good luck. So Crew Halliday, he is still in the fight for that championship, sitting in second position in that championship. Let's check in with Josh Waters, Team Suzuki X-Star, because he certainly had an up and down 2019. How are you going, Josh? How's the weekend been so far?
Not how I've wanted so far, but one more race still to go. Keep trying. I'm where I've been all year, roughly. Not where I want, there, but not there. So, give it another go.
Good luck. Thanks, Josh Waters. We might just jump over here and chat to Dale Breed. Hey, Breedy, Josh, not the best result, a bit further back, but Wayno, a win for race 1. Well done.
Yeah, it was a mixed fortunes for us as a team. Obviously, Josh didn't quite get it together and struggled a little bit, and didn't quite get there. But yeah, obviously Wayne's result was really, really strong, and wasn't unexpected, to be honest. We'd been working all weekend on the hard tyre, and we knew the others hadn't been, so we thought we could get the win, and proved to be the case.
Best of luck for this one. Thanks, Brady. Now, what you'll find a little bit odd is that the Honda that's usually up the front is down at 12th position, Troy Herfoss, but Marcus Kyoto is starting from 5th. A great qualifying for you to bring you up to 5th position, Marcus, but not the ideal race one. What happened?
Yeah, no, I had the worst start I've ever had, and then made a small mistake and had a small crash. So hopefully this one we can do what I wanted to in the first one.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll keep walking down the grid. Still got a little bit of time. Hey, Calvin, how's it going this weekend? Your bike doesn't like the cold weather, does it? Or your tyres don't?
It's been difficult, yes, but we think we worked out some scenarios that make it better for us, and let's see how we go in this one.
Thanks, Calvin. Good luck. We'll jump on over with Brian. Put his helmet on. Hey, Brian, how's it all going so far this weekend? Some tricky conditions. Looking around at the sky, it looks pretty grey.
Yeah, definitely could be tricky conditions for this one. Who knows what to expect? But a betting man, I'd reckon could be a bit of a dicey, slippery race. But yeah, overall, look, it's been a bit of a challenging weekend. We're here in 8th on the grid, 7th in the first race. We've made another adjustment to the bike, and I hope we're going to go one better than that. Or a few better than that would be ideal. But we'll see what we can do out there.
Go get him. All right, and I think we've got time for one more. We're just going to jump down here with Troy Herfoss because he did come from 12th and finished 3rd in that last race. Troy, progressive grid would help you out right now, wouldn't it?
We're all good.
Ready for this one? What's strategy? Good start?
Looks like the MA or the guys are waiting for the rain to come, so we'll just go and ride a few laps and then it'll probably rain, but we'll see what happens. I feel good. The first race is really good. And my pace is good, I just need to get to the front early. So Wayne and Jonesy were so fast.
That's a lot. Good start is crucial for this one. We might just grab Dion. Dion, hey, up and down weekend for you guys so far?
Yeah, hopefully this one's up again, and looking forward to a positive result.
Good luck. Thanks. Guys, I think everyone is clearing the grid. That's probably my cue to get off. Hey, cannot wait for this one. Who will win Kawasaki Superbike race number 2? It's over to you, Phil Harlem and Steve Martin.
Thank you very much, Emma. And you can tell there's a fair bit of tension down there on the grid, can't you, Steve Martin? Simply because the weather conditions have been unpredictable all weekend. A lot of the riders have been saying that they're going into the races a little bit undercooked simply because of that lack of dry track time, especially the riders that didn't test here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. And not only a couple of weeks ago, we had that 2 wet sessions yesterday, which they would normally have had time to get up to speed. So people have been getting up to speed during the races, which is an issue. I just popped my head outside a couple of minutes ago to have a look at the weather to see how wet it was, and I tell you, it looks a lot drier there on the TV screen than it does when you actually get outside. I mean, you go outside, you grab the banister where the stairs are, it's wet on top, so it's going to be tricky conditions out there, and I've got a feeling that it's going to be the bravest man that might win this one.
Well, 3 kilometres to warm the tyres up as the riders head off on this warm-up lap. As we've mentioned so many times here this weekend, Winton is an extremely tricky track. You spoke about it in your track preview. Turns 1 and 2, critical to get in there. We have seen pandemonium so many times in Turn 1 and Turn 2 in Australian Superbike Championship races. It's all about the start here this weekend.
It certainly is. We saw how critical it was in race 1 earlier today when Arthur Cece's got a brilliant start. It was harder for the guys to get past him, so that needs to happen this time out.
Mike Jones will start from pole position with race 1 victor Wayne Maxwell starting out a second, and Crew Halliday second in the championship, third on the grid.
Daniel Falzon will start second row, 4th. Good position for him. And Marcus Kyoto in 5th. Josh Waters with work to do, 6th, but still on the second row of the grid.
Back on the third row of the grid, the fast starting Arthur Cece's was a revelation in qualifying, just ahead of Brian Starring in 8th and Al Fellis on board the third of the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia machines in 9th.
Matty Walters had a great ride in race 1 today. Aaron Morris, a full-time member of the BMW team now. Good to see him, and Troy Herfoss. Boy, has he got his fingers crossed for a good start.
He'll start out at 12th position. In 13th will be Kyle Buckley making his return to ASBK. In 14th position, Damon Rees, our Kiwi visitor, who's been doing the whole championship. Unfortunately, Glenn Allerton ruled out of 15th position starting grid with that ongoing wrist injury, and we'll hopefully see him back fit at Phillip Island.
Yeah, absolutely. Best of wishes to him, and we really do hope to see him back because he's got a lot of life left in him yet.
Back on the next row of the grid too will be Brendan McIntyre on board bike number 62 on his privateer Suzuki. So the riders are coming around to take up their positions on the grid. Steve Martin. Mike Jones leads the championship by 5 points from Crew Halliday heading into this round. Wayne Maxwell, race 1 victor, is only 22 points behind the championship lead as we get ready to go racing. The fifth round of the championship, second race with only 4 races to go after this. We're getting ready for a start and we're in the starter's hands now. Jones starting from pole position, gets a cracking start. A good start too from Wayne Maxwell. Where is Arthur Cece's charging through from the third row of the grid? He's up there, he's on the outside though. He'll slip back to 4th or 5th position as hopefully everyone makes it through turn 1 and turn 2. Safe.
Oh,
that's got one down.
Was that? Oh, there's another down. There's 2 down there.
That looks like it could be Kyle Buckley who's been caught up there. He was unsighted when Marchiato went down, and it looks like we've got a red flag stoppage as the Superbikes come through turn 2. A big accident there for Marchiato, and unfortunate for Kyle Buckley.
Yeah, Marchiato just got on the gas that little bit too early, went flung over the handlebars, but the red flag is out. These guys will now know that you've just got to let these tyres warm up, especially in these conditions. And Marchiato just asking a little bit too much of his cold Pirelli slick, and it flung him over. And unfortunately, to me, it looked like Kyle Buckley got caught up in that accident.
I think what happened was it was completely unsighted. A couple of riders pulled out of the way to go around the stricken Penrite Honda of Marchiato, and Kyle Buckley was left with nowhere to go except to straight into the motorcycle that was lying on the track. Hopefully we might even be able to get a replay of what happened there. Hopefully the officials will be able to get that cleaned up relatively quickly, and we will be able to go racing straight away as the officials are working hard there to clean up the track.
Yeah, the last thing that these guys will want to do is if they get back to the grid and sit, they will have to get those tyre warmers back on the bikes. So we'll wait to see. But we just have a look now. You can see there, Marchiato just loses it early on. High sides over. Daniel Falzon nearly hits him. Cole Buckley, coming from way back, nowhere to go there, and he collides into the bike. Luckily for Marcus Chiodo, he misses him. But you can just see there, bang, straight over the top. And both of those riders extremely lucky. Damon Rees there, he saw that happening, and he put his hand up there to make sure that that red flag came out. The red flag came out. Race Safe on the scene within seconds. Both the riders are up, and good to see that they're both okay. Not so sure about those 2 machines, the BC Performance Kawasaki and the Penrite Honda, both looking a little bit second-hand on the right-hand side of the track there. But the medical doesn't take them long to get there and clean it all up, which is good to see, Phil.
So, yeah, it just looked like Kyle Buckley was holding his wrist as he got into the Race Safe Commodore 2. He'll be back in the medical centre. He's in the best of medical care with Race Safe, who are the leaders in motorsport first aid.
Kyle Buckley does not have a lot of luck, does he? He got caught up in that accident, if I remember rightly, in Darwin last year or the year before. He got caught up in an accident too, which caught him out. But let's go down to Emma on the grid.
Arthur Cece's just avoided the accident. How did you see it from your point of view?
I think it looked like he was leant over too much, and it's freezing cold out here, so the tyres probably cooled down a bit, and he just high-sided, so it looked like a big one, so hopefully he's all right.
Accident aside, a great starting position for you, and the start of that very last race, you went all the way up into second.
Yeah, the start of the last race was good. Not that one, not so much, but hopefully I can have another good one like the first one, and hopefully stay the whole race where I start.
Go get him. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, great to see Arthur back in the championship again this year. He had such a strong year last year, Steve Martin, but the one thing that has really stood out is Arthur's starts. But this weekend, I'll remember his efforts in qualifying, where he went straight through to Q2 with the 9 fastest riders after a great effort in time practice.
Well, this weekend, he has got some new parts fitted to his bike straight from the factory Suzuki team. He's got a new ECU, a new electronic control unit, and that smoothed the power of his bike out, which has really helped Arthur Cece's. So good to see.
Well, while the riders get ready and they clean up the track, we'll have a short break here at Winton. We'll be back with the second leg of Kawasaki Superbike after this break. Welcome back to Winton Motor Raceway, round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. We have been saying all show how the weather has been unpredictable here this weekend, Steve Martin. Well, right on cue, the rain has started to come down as the Superbikes are back on the grid, waiting for a restart of Kawasaki Superbike race number 2, following an incident out of turn 2 as the first attempted start got underway between Mark Chiodo and Kyle Buckley. Mark Chiodo high-sided, Kyle Buckley left with nowhere to go. Down to the grid with Emma.
Yeah, getting very wet down here very quickly, Phil. Hey, Daniel Felsen, we never like to see accidents. Lucky for you, though, you just missed it.
Yeah, I think Mark, he got a little bit throttle happy early in the races. We've got a colder track now. He was a little bit inside on the line, just gave it a fistful of throttle and over he went. As I said, I was really fortunate. I missed it probably 10 seconds and the carnage unfolded behind me. Now, it looks like this next race is going to be a bit of carnage with very minimal wet practice and a soaking wet track.
Be safe out there. You got your girlfriend to grab a hat, but you didn't grab one for me. Thanks.
No worries.
Go get him.
Yeah, I think a few of the riders were saying going into a wet race, it was going to be a very unpredictable situation. Looks to me also too, Steve Martin, like that wind has really started to pick up as well. That'll add another dimension to the the trickiness of this Winton Motor Raceway. We'll try and get a replay of the start here. So you can see Maxwell got a good start from second on the grid. So too did Arthur Cecil. He was on the outside as they came down through turn 1. Let's have a look where Mark Chiodo is. He's there in about fourth position around the outside of Felsen. Got it incredibly sideways. And Felsen, who was actually on one side of the machine, actually then went to the other side. And Kyle Buckley, completely unsighted. All of a sudden, he was confronted with the stricken Penrite Honda on the ground in front of him, and he had nowhere to go except straight into the bike. And you can see there of Kyle Buckley on the on the cement safety wall there of feeling a little bit of pain.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't really grab that wrist, but you could see, like you said, he probably grabbed it later, but he was definitely favouring it. So let's hope that he's okay. But both riders were up from that one, which is really good to see. Wet race declared, not something that we would dispute at the moment. Let's head down to Emma.
Well, I found an umbrella, guys, but no jacket. I thought maybe I could just come under here a little bit and stay warm with Matt Walters. Hey, Matt, this is not ideal, these conditions.
No, it's pretty much terrible, I think. You can't get any worse than this. It needs to rain a lot more so we can use wets, but it seems like we've got a decision up there, but we'll see what happens and we'll just go from there.
Finished 8th in race number 1. Great result for you. Well done.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad race. It was good for us, and we'll go from there and try and hopefully stay upright and stay out of the wet weather.
Go get him. Guys, I'll walk further up the grid, but I'm going to find a jumper on the way. Back to you.
Well, thanks, Emma, and try and stay warm down there on the grid because it does look like that wind is starting to pick up again. The wind has been icy. Was it yesterday, Steve Martin? We had wind gusts up to 60-odd kilometres an hour. The snow is not far away from here, and it felt like that wind was coming right off the snow.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have a look there, you can just see Wayne Maxwell's bike coming off the track at the moment. So it looks like we are in with some sort of delayed start. Let's head back down to Emma for an update.
Yeah, guys, obviously it's been declared wet, so we're rolling back into the pits now to change tyres.
Right, there we have it. We're heading back in, put the wet weather tyres on or choose their wet weather bikes. I know that Troy Herfoss, as an example, has only got one bike this weekend, Phil, due to the action-packed weekend he's had so far.
Well, it's going to be an interesting time down there. The team bosses will certainly be earning their pay. Let's hear from them.
It is the business end of the Kawasaki Superbike Championship, and of course there's plenty of goss coming out of pit lane. A few spanners have been thrown in the works, lots of questions have gone unanswered, there's even been some changes up and down the paddock. So it is time to dig deep with not the riders, but this time the bosses in the lane. So Dion Coote, 2019, we're getting towards the business end. Can you just wrap up your year a bit for us so far?
Yeah, 2019's been a little bit different to last year. At this point we'd won a few more overalls, so it's been definitely a bit more challenging. So yeah, we want a strong finish to the year, so yeah, looking forward to the racing kicking off here in Winton and yeah, finishing the year strong.
Look, there's a lot of unfortunate accidents. We probably actually destroyed 5 bikes in the first half of this year, but we've regained a bit of composure.
Only 3 rounds to go. Ted out, Aaron in. Why the rider change when we're almost at the end of the season?
Look, Ted had a couple of big crashes at the start of the year. We discussed it with Ted that he was pushing himself, and I wasn't comfortable from a safety perspective, because he obviously was trying to do the right thing by us and BMW and those sort of things. I wanted him to take a step back. It's a big step from 600 to Superbike, which he did last year. He needs a bit more experience to be, he wants to be competing at the front.
Team owner of Team Suzuki Exeter, Dale Breedy, thank you very much for joining us. So obviously we've seen some great results from Wayne this year. No wins for Josh as yet. What's happened to his 2019?
Look, I think a number of things changed this year for us, which sort of put us behind the 8 ball. One of the major changes this year was the actual tyre itself. For whatever reason, our bike just didn't quite work as well on the tyre as we'd hoped to. So Josh didn't have the comfort that he'd normally have. And Wayne coming into the team has created a much more competitive environment than we've had to deal with for a long period of time. So as a consequence of that, I think there's been instances where for Josh, he hasn't quite been able to put it together because of that pressure. Look, overall, having 2 championship-winning guys in your team is a great place to be. And if we can get Josh just to move forward a little bit, because he's not far away, but in this game, 2 or 3 tenths of a second a lap is the difference between winning a race and finishing 5th. If we can just get him a little bit further up the front, then both our guys are going to be strong for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so obviously Lachlan Epis has departed from the team, and we brought in our rider from last year, Carl Buckley, and let's see how he can go for the remainder of this year.
Can you tell us why Lachlan Epis departed the team?
Hey, look, end of the day, we had a few issues and we didn't get along, and but hey, we've moved on. We're all friends and stuff like that. We just didn't work well together, and I wish him the best for the future.
Oh look, last year Daniel was really sort of a very consistent guy, and that's what sort of brought him so far up into the championship. But this year he just, that sort of consistency hasn't been with him. I think he's been perhaps, just pushing that little bit harder, and just having bad luck. In reverse, Crew had an excellent year last year on the 600, and this year he's in that position where he's riding for a championship. So he's got to be smart, he's got to ride smart, and he has been doing that. He's been doing an excellent job.
You probably have one of the bigger budgets up and down pit lane. Not bringing home any trophies though must put a little bit of pressure on yourself and the team.
Well, no one ever compares pay packets around here. It's probably one of the more closely guarded secrets in ASBK is exactly who's got what to spend. But we try to be smart with our money. Certainly, our only sponsor is Yamaha. We don't have anyone else that we owe any favours to. So basically, our whole job is to be a vehicle for their product. Some of the teams that are privately owned or personally owned, I'm thinking that they probably sometimes get emotional and think, I've got to do this, I've got to find some extra money, so they just pull their credit card out and do it. Whereas for me, I have to manage exactly to the budget I'm allocated.
When you're on the box, you always shake the other guy's hand. I don't like losing at all. I'm not interested in coming second. I'm happy for him, but I'm still not happy. Leave it at that.
Yeah, and the way the points are in the championship, there's some good hot emotions the other day at testing. I won't go to any more than that, but that's what the sport needs. Everyone wants to try and dumb things down, and everyone's got to be prim and proper and those sort of things. Nah, bring it on.
You know what? I learned a long time ago in business not to worry about whether you get pats on backs from other people. So I really, they don't care either way.
I'm hated. Everyone hates me, so I'm alright. I think I'm alright, but everyone hates me. What's going on?
What is it?
I don't know. Maybe it's some British. No, look, hey, end of the day, yes, I get on most people in the paddock. I've got no problems with anybody, and end of the day, the championship is a friendly championship, and but when the riders are out on track, it's a different story.
Look, no one's happy to come second or third. Basically, as far as we're concerned, you're the first loser. We have to be rivals. We don't treat it as like a social occasion. It's a business. We're going racing.
Well, great to hear from the team bosses here this weekend. And Steve Martin, I think a couple of things clearly evident there is that there's some very competitive riders out there, but there's also some very competitive team managers. As Ben Henry says, he doesn't like to lose.
Yeah, I don't think any of them like to lose listening to that, but that was a very good piece to listen to the team managers that we don't normally get to hear about what they've got to say, but a little bit of the inner workings of the Australian Superbike Championship, and really good to see the amount of effort that gets put in as well, and the pressure that the riders are under to perform. Would you want to come in to any one of those guys and explain why you finished second by 0.1 of a second? Not me.
So asbk.com.au is the place to go to keep up with all of the action. Of course, the recent test here at Winton, there was full reports on there of that, and as you heard from Wayne Hepburn, plenty of action there as well. Back down to Emma.
Just checking in with Dave Fuller, our expert from Pirelli. Okay, so it was raining. It looks a lot drier now. What does everyone do in this break?
Well, unfortunately, we had an accident on the start of the Superbike race, exiting turn 2. And I think, fortunately, the way it's turned out, with the red flag incident, the riders have regridded to restart, and there's been no rain. So they've had a 15-minute delay. Once it's declared wet, it's a rider's or a team's choice to run on slicks or rain tyres. And fortunately, it looks like it's fined up enough with that break that I'd imagine all riders will be back out there on slicks.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Dave. Great to hear from Dave Fuller there from Pirelli. Of course, be interested to see what the Dunlop guys are doing as well, but it's going to be a very interesting equation as to who will do what. We saw Wayne Maxwell was good on the hard tyre. Will that be the hard tyre option this afternoon? Well, as we mentioned earlier on too, there's been plenty of Kiwis here keeping up with the pace on the weekend. Great to see them all making their way across the ditch to compete in the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Steve Martin caught up with a few of them.
Well, it's no secret, Kiwis have been racing in Australia for many years now, but we've got a Kiwi invasion this weekend at Winton. We've got 2 racers and an official here and a whole bunch of others in the paddock. First of all, we've got Avalon Biddle. Of course, she's the current Supersport champion in New Zealand. I've got to ask you, Avalon, why are you racing here this weekend in the ASBK?
Well, not only is it great fun, but it's awesome to have the good competition of racing here against the Aussies and to keep racing all year round. Our season in New Zealand is pretty short, running from December through to April, just over summer. So to be able to race all year round and just a short trip across the ditch, it's awesome to be here and be part of it.
Well, that's good to see. We've also got Superbike rider Damon Reese here as well. Damon, you've been racing here for a little while now. Why do you make your way over to Australia to race?
It's pretty obvious, really. You come over here and you know you're going to get good competition. So, as all racers are, they just want to get better and faster. And when you're racing with world-class athletes that we race with here in ASBK, you know you're going to get better. And then when you go home, you're just going to be that much better a rider. And obviously none of the rounds clash, which is helpful. So you can race, like Avalon said, all year round. It's awesome.
We've also got the officials. Quite a few officials have made their way over this weekend. Dan Batchelor, why have all you guys come over here to learn, I hear?
Well, I guess very much like our athletes, they want to come over and test themselves against the best. And I guess we look up to the Australian Championship and think that you guys run a really, really professional organisation, a really good operation, and we're just looking to what we can learn from you.
Well, there we have it. The Kiwi invasion making our Australian Superbike Championship better.
Well, thanks, Steve Martin. Great to hear from all of the Kiwis over here. And the good news is that the riders are back out onto the grid, getting ready for Kawasaki Superbike race number 2. Unfortunately, the first attempt to get this race run ended in a crash at the exit of turn 2. All of the riders are back down on the grid now, and we are ready to go racing. Looks like a couple of damp patches on the grid, but it looks to me, Steve Martin, like everybody is wearing slick tyres for this race. Soft or hard? I guess we'll start to know in about 10 laps' time. The race has been reduced to 12 laps as we get ready to go racing. Mike Jones starts from pole position, leads the championship by 5 points. Ready to go now in the starter's hands. A great start there from Wayne Maxwell. Look at the Suzuki X-Star machine blast off the line as he makes his way down towards turn 1, where his other CC's making a charge from on this occasion. No, he's not going to be up into the top riders. Oh, we've got one down. That's has gone down into the S's. We've got another rider through
that's
there.
Epis.
Lachlan Epis has also gone straight on. Looks like it's very slippery down there into the S's, and those riders have gone in a little bit too hard. And Daniel Falzon has gone down. We've got a red flag stoppage. That will be the end of the Superbike race once again at the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, that was obviously still a little bit of wet track out there that hasn't dried up completely yet. Epis went down, Falzon went down, so another red flag has come out. Let's just see if we can have a look at that off the start line again. Wayne Maxwell with a brilliant start. Look at that, just drove out of the blocks, up the inside, perfect on the inside there. He took it nice and easy through there, but watch Daniel Falzon now, out of third position, boom! Straight into the wall for that R1, and bang, the Kawasaki of Lachlan Epis also out of this one. So those two guys probably won't be taking part of the restart. The bikes now.
And also too, Daniel Falzon was so lucky that he missed the concrete wall there.
Yeah, absolutely.
As he went into that into the tyre wall.
Yeah,
and managed to get away from it. But Lachlan Epis looked like he was off the bike well and truly before the bike even went off the circuit.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tricky conditions out there because, it is declared a wet race. So that's the issue is right now, everybody should know that it's, not perfectly dry out there. They got a warm-up and combined sighting lap to have a look at the circuit. Everyone's come back to the start-finish line at the moment. But once again, this is proving to be a very tricky day here at the Winton circuit.
Yeah, it is, and Wayne Maxwell got absolute cracking start. I reckon that's one of his best starts of the season so far. Remember, last year he couldn't take a start in any of the races. Every race he dropped back from the front row of the grid, well and truly back into the clutches. But that was a cracking start. But unfortunately, we've had a stoppage here. We'll have a short break from Winton and be back as the Kawasaki Superbikes get underway once again.
What time's your...
And welcome back to Winton Motor Raceway, round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. There has been so much action here this weekend. Let's have a look at the this attempted start of Kawasaki Superbike races. The field got away down in towards turn 1. We saw Mad Mike Jones get the lead as they came through turn 1 for the first time. And then it was Mark Kyoto that had a big high side moment, and unfortunately he was stricken in the middle of the track, and Kyle Buckley on the second of the BC Performance Kawasaki's had nowhere to go, Steve Martin, and smashed into the stricken Penrite Honda, and that caused a red flag stoppage. You can see another angle of it there. Most of the field managing to get around the Penrite Honda, but Kyle Buckley left with nowhere to go.
Yeah, he certainly hit the Honda with a lot of force. Both of those riders lucky to get up and away from that one with so few injuries. Good to see them up and about there, but both of those riders didn't get to do the restart. In the second take, the track was a little bit damp. Daniel Falzon got the best start he's had all week, and after narrowly missing the incident, he crashed, lost the front on a wet patch, and bang, into the wall goes his R1. He just comes around the outside there, and that's the end of his race too, so he didn't get very far. Lachlan Eppis's bike, a similar situation there. He must have had almost a little bit of a high side because his bike stood up and went into the wall. You can tell he's not happy about that.
Let's get into Emma, who's down in pit lane.
Alex Phillips obviously managed to escape the carnage. What did you see from your point of view?
Not a lot. I'm not sure if there was contact. No, there's not a whole lot of grip out there on the track, and first lap, it's not easy. So, yeah, not too sure what happened, but hopefully we make it all through this time. The grid's getting some big holes in it now, so it's not too many bikes going in the corner.
Take it easy. Go get him.
I think Al summed it up perfectly, Steve Martin. Exactly what you said before. It's been a day of attrition here at Winton.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2-minute board's out now, so it won't be long until we get this one underway, Phil. And, boy, it's playing into the hands of Troy Herfoss back down the grid, but with a few holes now, you never know. He might just find his way up with Mike Jones and the number 47, Wayne Maxwell. Who knows? I think maybe he'll be in with a shot.
Well, just a recap of what has happened this weekend. We came into the round with Mike Jones leading the championship by 1 point over Crew Halliday and 27 points between first and sixth in the championship, back to Josh Waters and Wayne Maxwell in fifth and sixth positions. After race number 1, Wayne Maxwell took the race win. Mike Jones was in second and Troy Herfoss third, Crew Halliday fourth. It is now 22 points between the top 5 in the championship, with Mike Jones leading by 5 points from Crew Halliday and 15 points from Brian Starring back in third, and then Troy Herfoss and Wayne Maxwell 4 points apart in fourth and fifth position. 22 points covering the top 5 as we're getting very close now to the warm-up lap getting underway. And as you mentioned, Herfoss starting from 12th position, but he's got big holes everywhere through the grid in front of him, and it could be a day where he really limits the damage to his championship that could have happened after Friday and Saturday that weren't all that good for Team Penrite Honda.
No, absolutely. So just keep an eye out now. There's still some key players out there. Mike Jones looking to extend the lead in the championship, and Wayne Maxwell looking to close up that gap. Everyone there will be doing their absolute best to get as much heat into their slicks as they can. The track is dry enough for slicks, but it's cold, and cold slicks do not work. So be assured they need to warm these tyres up, take it easy for a couple of laps. Some of the guys have got hard tyres, which are good for 18 laps, Phil, but this race now is a 10-lap race. So if you're one of the riders that chose a softer tyre and thinking you'd just see what happened in the last few laps, you might be sitting in the box seat in this one.
Yeah, 10 laps was the position where Josh Waters said the soft tyre would really start to go off. So we know that, or we surmise that Mike Jones has got the soft tyre, and we know that Wayne Maxwell has been working on the hard tyre all weekend. That's going to be a very interesting race. There's also the fact that 10 laps changes the physicality of this race somewhat as well from the original distance of 16 laps. All of these riders, though, Steve, are all incredibly fit.
They are incredibly fit, but you do not have to save anything. When it's a 10-lap race, you've just got to give it everything you got. It is a sprint race to the end. It's a Wayne Maxwell from lap 16 to the finish from the start this time around.
Well, they're coming round, only 2 corners to go now in this warm-up and last opportunity to heat the tyres up before we get underway. Kawasaki Superbike race number 2 from round 5 of a 7-round championship. That means there is only 4 races to go at the completion of this race. So a total of 100 points up for grabs. And as we mentioned, with the championship balanced on a knife edge, there is tension aplenty down there on the grid.
Arthur Cece's there. Takes his spot on the grid.
Well, fingers crossed, we are ready to go racing, Steve Martin, for the final time today for Kawasaki Superbike class. Jones starting from pole position, race 1 winner, Wayne Maxwell in second. In the starter's hands as the red flag leaves the front of the grid. Here we go, Mike Jones starts from pole position, but it's Maxwell once again that gets a fantastic start and drives down towards turn 1. Hopefully everyone can make it through here safely. Arthur Cece's into the lead. He's in the lead through turn 1. Can they keep it upright as they exit turn 2? Everyone's got through there safely, and Maxwell is back up the inside of Arthur Cece's to take up the running in first position. Crew Halliday also fighting his way through Brian Starring, who got a good start on board the BC Performance Kawasaki.
How good is that number 61 off the start? Arthur Cece's brilliant stuff. Al Phillips is there too. He got a good start. And Josh Waters work to do. And Herfoss takes the inside line. He's got to make his way up the inside if he can. 4, 5, 6, 8th position, but he is. He's past Phillips, and it looks like he's past Waters as well. Herfoss on a mission.
Yeah, looked like Josh Waters got balked a little bit through the long Suzuki sweeper there and had to change his line a couple of times, and that really affected his drive through the start of the S's, and Herfoss was able to take advantage, as at the front Wayne Maxwell and Mike Jones are starting to streak away, but that's exactly what we saw in race number 1. Crew Halliday's up into 3rd place, and now Brian Starring is trying to find a way past the fast starting Arthur Cece's on board bike number 61.
Yeah, Crew Halliday's done a really good job to get past Arthur Cece's.
Halliday's run wide at MA corner. He's may have just kept it on track, Steve Martin, but it's going to be a big effort to try and come back from there from Crew Halliday. 3rd in the championship, 3rd in the race, 2nd in the championship. We'll try and find out now how far Crew Halliday has dropped back with that incident at MA corner.
He's dropped right back. He's not there, I don't think. We were about to find out. I think he's not in this anymore. Halliday's out. Halliday is out. He is out. He's not on the timing screen. Crew Halliday is way back down. So big news for the championship. The man who sits 2nd in the championship is out of this one. He might pick his bike up and get going. That's what he needs to do. But meanwhile, it's Arthur Cece's back up near the front.
We've got another one off. That's Al Phillips is off at the Suzuki sweeper on board bike number 8. He's kept the bike upright as well. You can rejoin the field, but he's going to have to drop a fair way back.
Yeah, because he's jumped halfway across the field there. He was so lucky to hold that one together. Brian Starring there with the number 1 machine, the Penrite Honda of Troy Herfoss, looking for a way past.
Well, the two former teammates are really having a good battle now for 3rd position. Brian Starring looking to get his season back on track after a couple of difficult results. Look at the front end of the Honda and the Kawasaki bouncing as they came down into AGV corner. Both of them asking plenty of questions from those front tyres and the front end setup, because if they change to the softer bikes though too, Steve Martin, just wondering what the suspension setup they've got running on them is, because they both looked very soft there.
Well, very tricky for Troy Herfoss, because he's just got the one bike. There's Marcus Kyoto, number 30. We saw him crash out earlier on. Good to see him back. And what? Absolutely good to see him back out on front. Al Phillips as well will get going again in this one, but it is the 2 from race 1 today out front at the moment. Number 46 tails number 47. So Wayne Maxwell, I'm sure he's taking it pretty easy at the moment. He'll be warming everything up nicely, just saving a little bit. 10 laps around here is still a long way.
Wayne Maxwell has got one over Mike Jones in more ways than one at the moment. 47 to 46.
Absolutely. But look at Jonesy. He's using the grunt of the Ducati. He wants to take to the lead.
And you can see there that Troy Herfoss looked like he ran a little bit wide too on the exit of AGV corner as he made his way up the back straight. But he's still maintaining a handy lead over Brian Starring. He's having a look at the lap times. A 1:20.714 for Wayne Maxwell. That's not that far off the times that they were doing, Steve Martin. So considering the track is so cold and possibly a little bit slippery, the pace of these riders is absolutely, unthought of, I think you would have to say.
That's pretty much qualifying pace. 1:20.7 in these conditions is brave. And is Wayne Maxwell anything other than brave? I don't think so. He is an absolute animal. He knows how to win around this circuit. He won the last race here last year. He won the first race here, and I think he wants to get the double this time out. Something he didn't do last year, because he won one and crashed last year, if you remember.
He's also trying to get as many points as he can back in the championship to our current championship leader, the man that sits in 2nd position on board that Desmo Sport Ducati bike number 46.
Yeah, well, he's had a lot of bad luck this year, hasn't he, Wayne Maxwell? He's been taken out at Phillip Island. There was another unfortunate incident that wasn't his fault, and he lost basically 50 points. Mike Jones is closing up under brakes now. So Wayne Maxwell, he just needs to keep it together.
Well, Jonesy looks like he's got a lot of confidence in the front end of the Desmo Sport Ducati. Obviously, Paul Free and Ben Henry and the crew have given him a fantastic bike because he's been so fast all weekend. A couple of more drops of rain on the camera down there at turn 12 as well. So maybe the rain hasn't completely vacated as Mike Jones simply waves at Wayne Maxwell as he goes blasting past on the Motul Pirelli straight and down into the lead through the spokesesses.com.au and drives out over the old start-finish line. No, he's pointing to the sky. He wasn't waving to Wayne Maxwell.
No, he's saying, yeah, we need to stop this because it gets slippery awfully quickly. Both of the boys now putting their hands up to say that it's getting too wet. It's going to be interesting to see what they do now. I'm sure the officials will be looking at this.
You know, one rider that has not slowed down, the rider that's now right onto the back of him in 3rd position, Troy Herfoss. He's not waiting for the officials to make any decision. He's barged his way past Mad Mike Jones into 3rd place, and he's now gone into the race lead, has Troy Herfoss on board bike number 1. This will perk Wayne Maxwell and Mad Mike Jones. No, red flag. Red flag has come out. So I was going to say that if they slow down anymore and there's no red flag, they're going to rue their decision. But the officials have come out and have called a red flag due to the worsening conditions here at Winton Motor Raceway, unfortunately, for the Kawasaki Superbike class.
Yeah, I mean, that's, Troy Herfoss did the right thing. Race declared, so it is going to be a much shortened race here this weekend.
And half points were awarded. No, Troy Herfoss not happy. You can see there as he makes his way into pit lane. The race was declared wet, Steve Martin, so that's a very interesting outcome. Race declared, half points are awarded. So I think you'll find that the race win will go to, well, I think actually on the last completed lap, who had Mike Jones overtaken Wayne Maxwell before the start-finish line?
Well, we'll know shortly. I think Wayne Maxwell's the winner. Maxwell's going to win this one. And I think Mike Jones is second with Herfoss third. It's been readjusted now on a timing screen, so it looks like it is going to be Wayne Maxwell from Suzuki who takes it out. Not in the normal style that you would like, but nevertheless, a double win for the Suzuki man.
Well, it's going to be interesting to calculate out the championship points as well when we get the revised championship points, but I think we'll be hearing from our top three. Before that, we'll have a short break and come back, update you with the points and everything happening here at Winton Motor Raceway.
Welcome back to a very wet Winton Motor Raceway. We just had a drama-filled race number 2 for Kawasaki Superbikes, which saw Mike Jones win. It was Troy Herfoss in 3rd position. Unfortunately, he has left Park for May, so we'll jump on in with Wayno. Wayno, wow, tough conditions for you out there.
Yeah, look, it is tough. It's such a difficult call for race direction. If they let the race go, it's a wet race. They know everyone's on slicks, and then you've got injured riders. There's already half the field was decimated for the tricky conditions that Winton Turn 1 and 2 provide. Yeah, I understand Troy's frustration for sure, but easily if he was on the ground, he's like, oh, why didn't they red flag or why didn't they stop it? So it can go either way. And yeah, happy with the result today. Happy to claw back a few points in the championship, and looking forward to moving on to Phillip Island. Hopefully, the Victoria, my home state, can put on a bit of sunshine.
Yeah, all of the incidents and everything aside, that is a good track for you. Certainly suits the Suzuki. Looking forward to it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys at Team Suzuki X-Star have worked really, really hard. They've made the bike better and better every time I've gotten on it. Collect the info, understanding what I want, and the more laps we spend, the better the bike gets.
Well done this weekend. Some much-needed points for your championship.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 2nd position, Wayne Maxwell. Give him a round of applause. And in 1st, your winner, Mike Jones. Congratulations. Obviously, really tough circumstances out there, but well done.
Yeah, thanks very much. Obviously, it was a very tricky way that race ran. Ultimately here we've seen when the conditions get on the surface of the track gets wet or a little bit damp, it's very, very dangerous. And at the end of the day, I think that the right call's made to finish the race. And fortunately for me, that's a good position. But ultimately, it's just the safety of all the riders, and I think that everyone would agree that that's the right decision to be made.
Coming into this race, you were leading that championship by 5 points. Good to know that you've extended that lead.
Yeah, look, that's the goal. I'm here to win the championship and doing the best job that I possibly can. And to come away at the end of this weekend, extending the championship lead is just a fantastic result for me and the Desmo Sport Ducati team. So a big thanks to the team and all of our sponsors, and along with my personal sponsors as well.
Thanks, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Your winner for race number 2 for the Kawasaki Superbike, boys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Great to hear from our race winner, Mad Mike Jones, and also 2nd place, Wayne Maxwell. Yes, Troy Herfoss not happy with the decision because he was on a charge. But if we have a look at the replay now, you can see Jones came down in towards the spokes.com.au S's in 1st place. Maxwell right on his tail. Unfortunately, early on, Mark Kyoto had a big high side and Kyle Buckley was caught up in the incidents, causing the first of our red flags.
Yeah, thankfully both of those riders were able to walk away with that, but look at the impact. Bang! That was a massive high-speed impact there. Luckily, both riders are up, and we saw Mark Kyoto watching the race from the sidelines later on there. Damon Rees from New Zealand just getting out of the way of that one too. On the restart though, it was looking pretty good as Wayne Maxwell got a brilliant start down into turn 1 with Daniel Falzon sitting himself in 2nd. He was thinking that things were looking pretty good until he lost the front right there, and his bike went over and ended up on top of the tyre barrier there. Lachlan Eppes followed him in, which brought out the 2nd of our red flags, and then also the wet race was declared at this point. We got underway again, and it was Wayne Maxwell brave this time. Everybody made it through turn 1 and 2 through the spokes S's.
Yeah, Arthur Cece's got another cracking start and led them on the exit of turn 2. Everyone making it through safely, but it wasn't long before our race leaders, Wayne Maxwell and Mike Jones, started to get a bit of a lead. Crew Halliday was trying to catch up, but he ran wide at MA turn 11, and then we had Al Phillips go well and truly off at Suzuki corner, a high-speed corner and across the grass.
Saw Mike Jones there just indicating that it was starting to rain, and at that point it was the man in 2nd place, Wayne Maxwell, that agreed with him. Wayne dove up the inside there, but it wasn't too long before they had their hands out. Number 1, Troy Herfoss though, he raced until the red flag came out, so he caught the 2 guys in front, but the race was declared, and it was Wayne Maxwell who was the winner.
You can see there the frustration of Troy Herfoss as that race was declared. He wanted the race to keep going, and unfortunately he ended up in 3rd place.
Absolutely.
Well, Wayne Maxwell now being declared the winner, but on the podium they had Mike Jones in 1st position. So Mike Jones in 2nd position, Troy Herfoss in 3rd, Brian Starring in 4th place, Josh Waters in 5th, Arthur Cece's in 6th. Aaron Morris in 7th. Damon Rees in 8th. Crew Halliday 9th. Matt Walters in 10th. And Steve Martin. The drama just continues on here at round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. There has been no end of drama from the test through Friday, through Saturday, and now Sunday.
Well, let's throw back down to Emma.
Just catching up with Ben Henry, because obviously there's been quite a bit of commotion on the podium. So just take us through your point of view. And I mean, we saw Mike wanting to stop the race. He was one of the ones that had his hand up. How do you see it?
I think it's controversial. It's declared a wet race, and that means you make your choice. And everyone chose slicks, and then wasn't happy when it rained. There's not much you can do about it. The only thing really is because everyone knew they were on slicks, like MA or whatever, and you're on slicks, they kind of had a duty of care to stop it. But it was our choice, and everyone chose slicks, and in the end, it's controversial.
Thanks for the chat.
Cheers.
I think Ben Henry has summed it up perfectly, Steve Martin, and if anything, I think there's probably a certain Penrite Honda rider that would agree with him.
Yeah, I do agree, but I think, in all honesty, if you'd have let that race go with a sprinkle of rain on the track, which probably could have been the correct thing to do, it just, wouldn't have been the thing to do. But
well, and as I think Wayne Maxwell said, and also Ben Henry just mentioned, that MA does have a duty of care to the riders out there because they won't stop.
Absolutely. Well, here are the results.
So the final points now is Mad Mike Jones with 217.5 points, leading Crew Halliday on 206 points, and Brian Starring on 198.5 points. Herfoss on 196, Maxwell on 193, and Josh Waters on 181. So they are still pretty tightly packed at the top of the championship for the first 6 riders. Matt Walters on 130.5, leads Daniel Falzon on 124, Alex Phillis on 110, and Arthur Cece has moved now up into the top 10 with 106.5 points. But Mike Jones, the important thing for him is he has increased his championship lead from 1 point coming in to 11.5 points now over Crew Halliday.
Yeah, well, we're about to turn our attention to the 600 Supersports, and I'll tell you what, these guys, after seeing that happen, surely they'll be fitting their wet weather slicks set straight up.
It'll be interesting to see as the riders, we get some close in on the bikes. Well, let's go back down to the grid, and Emma with another one of our team managers.
We heard from Ben Henry. What's your take on the situation, Brady?
Oh, look, it is a really tricky one. The reality is today that conditions have changed all day, and ultimately I think from the safety, there's an obligation to ensure that the boys are safe, and in this instance, this weather has been so changeable that I don't think they could have let it go on. So I think it was the right decision. I get what Troy's saying. Look, at the end of the day, it's frustrating for those guys. He's had a pretty ordinary weekend. But for us overall, it was a good result. We're disappointed, to be honest, in the last race in half points because we felt that we still had the pace to be able to take it all the way. But to get a round win is certainly backed up after Morgan Park is fantastic for us. So onwards and up.
Thanks, Dale.
No worries.
Well, you want to know what my take is on it, right? Having a little bit of a think about it is that if one person in that field had wet weather tyres on, they should have let it run to the end because that's the thing. Everybody chose slicks, so all that was going to happen was, it was not going to end well.
Not dissimilar to what happened at Wakefield Park a couple of years ago when I think a couple of the riders started on wet tyres and a couple started on slicks. Well, let's hear from another one of our team managers with Emma.
So we haven't heard from Troy, but we know that he's not happy. Can you tell us your point of view, Dion?
Yeah, look, we've had a pretty stressful weekend. A number of crashes, starting from 12th on the grid with Troy. So fighting those battles before we even started that race was obviously tough. Troy was on a man on a mission to get to the front, and obviously he was doing that. And it was just super disappointing for us to be in the middle of a wet race and it being declared when as soon as Troy gets to the front or near the front. So, working that hard to get to that position after a stressful weekend is super disappointing for Honda Racing.
I appreciate the chat. Thanks, Dion.
Thanks.
Well, Thanks for that, Emma. Hearing from the top three certainly puts a different perspective on it when you're hearing from them, because they're looking at it from a considered position, not a, dare I say it, hot-headed rider's position, Steve Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, time to turn our attention to this championship, the Supersport Championship, and we've got Tom Taparis from pole position with Nick Limington in second. Third is Reed Batty. Fourth on row 2 is Brock Pearson on the Yamaha. He rode well early on. Ollie Bayliss and Ty Lynch round out row 2. Chris Quinn had a good ride earlier on from row 3. Jack Hyde starts in the 8th position, and Dallas Skier 9th.
Richie Dibbon will start out of position number 10 with Aidan Hayes in 11th, and Avalon Biddle, who we heard from earlier on. Steve Martin out of 12th position, Chandler Cooper in 13th, Jack Passfield in 14th, Reece Belling in 15th, and the field rounded out by Ryan Sellen. The big question is, I couldn't see him out there on the grid. I don't think we have Reed Batty on board the number 33 Team X-Star Suzuki after that big crash at the start of race number 1. I think he may have not taken up his position on the grid. But I think that we did see Nick Limington on board bike number 27 out there, but we will wait to see them come round and take up their positions on the grid to confirm that. The one rider that we do know that's out there is Ollie Bayliss on board bike number 68, because we can see him there on the Yamaha YZF R6 making his way around through MA Corner now and down to take up his position on the grid.
Yeah, I caught up with Nick Limington. He said that he would be out on track. Of course, there was a big crash earlier on in the day, and some of the Supersport riders went down. Nick Limington, Reed Batty were two of those riders. I think there was a total of 4 that went down. Most of them are back out there. It doesn't look like Reed Batty's been able to make it back, unfortunately, but we're getting ready for a start here with the 600 Supersport.
Yeah, Richie Dibbon was another one of those riders that was involved in that incident on board bike number 119 as well. And also, was it Chandler Cooper, I think, had the flat tyre caused by some of the debris. But we're ready to go racing now. The final race of the day for Motul Motorsports TV Supersport. Tom Taparis starting from pole position. Field now taking up their positions on the grid. No, 2 vacant grid positions in second and third. Here we go. Tom Taparis starting from pole position. The only man on the front row of the grid. Championship leader by a considerable margin now, with the final race on the program today underway. It is Tom Taparis getting a good jump, but I just thought Ollie Bayliss got a cracking jump. And is that him now coming up? No, it's Ty Lynch up into, he's on the outside of Tom Taparis, battling for the lead as they come through turn 1 for the first time. And it is the 2 underground design machines of Ty Lynch and Ollie Bayliss that lead Tom Taparis through turn 3.
How good is Ty Lynch this weekend? He has come of age as well. Good to see him up there at the front. These tricky conditions really working for those 2 boys. Ollie Bayliss as well. Tom Taparis, he has got to be just building himself into this. Expect a little bit more from Avalon Biddle as well. She's moved herself up the pack. But there is your front 3. Tom Taparis, who's won, 10 out of 11 so far, is in 3rd position.
And thought he was having a bit of a look up the inside of Ty Lynch there, down into YMF Corner, but it is still Ollie Bayliss on board bike number 68 that leads this race through the Kawasaki S's now, and he turns to head down the YMF straight for the first time.
Well, you can see how tricky the conditions are out there at the moment. The boys, you can see Ty Lynch looking over his shoulder, but they're definitely riding at half pace. I would say that the track is damp at the moment. They're really taking it easy. The sun has just come out here, so hopefully as this race goes on, things will dry up a little bit and the pace will increase. But there goes Taparis up the inside. Great move by him.
Richie Dibbon on board bike number 119, the Suzuki GSX R600, is now up into 3rd position. Obviously, he has webbed feet, Richie Dibbon, and is loving these conditions out here at the moment.
Yeah, he's riding brilliantly out there on the GSX-R Suzuki. The GSX-R, a race winner around here. Hard on the brakes, he goes past Tom Taparis. I bet he didn't expect this at the start of the weekend, Phil.
Well, Richie Dibbon probably didn't expect this either, as he was sitting on the ground at the exit of turn 2 in race number 1, but he's now up into 2nd position and riding like a man possessed down through turn 3. He's got his eyes firmly fixed now on our race leader, Ollie Bayliss, on board bike number 68, as he makes his way through the Pirelli corner and down towards the Suzuki sweeper. He's on a charge on the Suzuki.
Yeah, he certainly is. I'm surprised that Limington's not out there, to be honest. I thought he would have been out there. I saw him in the pits and he said he was okay, but perhaps when he got on the bike, something wasn't quite right. So unfortunately, he's not there. But anyway, Ollie Bayliss leads this one out front at the moment.
Ty Lynch in 4th place, Jack Hyde in 5th, Brock Pearson back in 6th position ahead of Ryan Sellen, who is up into 7th position. Aidan Hayes, Avalon Biddle and Jack Passfield round out the top 10. Remember, Brock Pearson has moved up into 2nd in the championship with those solid points in race number 1 earlier on today too. So Brock Pearson, I think, is just doing a fair bit of consolidation at the moment to make sure that he comes home in this race with some points to maintain that 2nd position in the championship, knowing that the man that sits directly behind him, Nick Leamington, is not out on track.
Absolutely. But what a job number 119's doing. Richie Dibben, he's hanging in there, isn't he? He's holding his own with the man who leads the Australian Supersport Championship at the moment.
Well, he's about to hop on a plane on Monday and head back overseas as well to continue his efforts in the German IDM Championship, and also a guest ride in the British Superbike Championship Supersport class at Assen coming up next weekend. Dibben back down the inside of Taparis. Taparis goes back around the outside and is also now closed in on the back of our race leader, Ollie Bayliss.
Yeah, but lap times are down. We're 7 seconds a lap slower than a real dry time at the moment. So these guys are pretty much just pussyfooting around out there at the moment.
Yeah, but it's certainly, Steve, as we mentioned before, it's not wet enough for wets and it's not dry enough for slicks.
No.
So it's in no man's land at the moment, but you can see once they've got a little bit of heat into the tyres, they can still ride relatively aggressively, just not carrying the same amount of corner speed as what they would have before. Down to the pits and an update from Emma.
Yeah, just caught up with Reed Batty watching on. I know you would rather be racing, but good to say that you're okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling okay at the moment. I just really do feel unfit. My back's giving me a bit of grief, but to get on the bike at the moment, I can't even hardly get on it. But also my arm as well, being run over on my arm and on my head as well. So I just don't feel up to racing. I'm unfit to ride. So a bit of a shame, but we'll move on to Phillip Island. Hopefully go a bit better there.
Get well. We'll see you at PI.
Thanks, Emma. Great to hear from Reed, and good news is that he's A-OK with Bayliss and Taparis, the former teammate Steve Martin, going head-to-head now in this race. And the banter between the two of them at the beginning of the year when they were going to be racing together was how would you say, they were jousting each other, and now this is the first real opportunity in 2019 for them to joust out on track.
Well, I'm really looking forward to this battle, because if you think back to the race that we saw earlier today, Tom Taparis, who's won pretty much every race this year except for one that Nick Leamington won, took off. Bayliss caught him up, did the fastest lap of the race, and then he had some sort of bike issue, so we never really got to see what he can do. This is his chance to shine.
And he's been shining all year. In fact, in his rookie year in the Supersport Championship has Ollie Bayliss, the youngest ever rider to compete in the Australian Supersport Championship at just 15 years of age as the season got underway. And he's now leading this race as we come round through the Kawasaki S's and to head towards the YMI Straight. It is Taparis right on his tail, Richie Dibben in there in 3rd position. Brock Pearson has moved his way past Ty Lynch up into 4th place on board his Yamaha. And Jack Hyde is now closed in fact, on Ty Lynch in 6th position. Ryan Sellen in 7th. Hayes, Passfield and Biddle round out the top 10.
Well, talking about shining, Richie Dibben is still hanging on to that 3rd spot there on his Suzuki. Brilliant stuff by him. Looks like Brock Pearson might be closing him down a little bit, but it is still Ollie Bayliss and the Cube Racing Machine out front at the moment, who's showing the more experienced Tom Taparis which way to go around this Winton circuit.
Well, the fastest lap in this race is was actually set by Richie Dibben, but Brock on the last lap has just eclipsed that by a couple of tenths of a second to do a 1:28.0. So you picked it, Steve. He's closing in because he's the fastest man on track. He was also on the last lap 0.6 and 0.8 of a second faster than our race leaders. Brock Pearson is arriving at this party very, very quickly.
Yeah, it is so tricky when you've got conditions like this out there, though. I mean, very cold track temperature. It's just really difficult to know what to do. Let's head down to M.
Richard Taparis, good little battle going on here, but can he catch him?
It's funny. They'll carry this onto the PlayStation probably tonight. This will be pretty cool. They'll be bragging rights for sure. I'm loving it.
Did I hear that you got an invite to Assen this time?
I did get an invite. Yeah, bad luck for Mum. Mum went last time. I'm going this time. It'll be great. Can't wait.
Safe flight tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, that is in the back of the minds of Tom Taparis at the moment. He is getting on a plane to go overseas and race tonight or tomorrow. So the last thing he wants to do is This guy over there with a couple of bruises on him, so he wants to keep it upright. I think that winning today won't be as important to him as it might be on other occasions, but I'll tell you what, I've never seen Tom Taparis not want to win.
On the same note, he would be happy to see Ollie win, but he would be unhappy to get the ribbing that Ollie would give him until they get on track at the next round at Phillip Island, because you know that that's exactly what would be happening.
Yes, absolutely right there. Tricky conditions. Ollie Bayliss, though, now has stepped the pace up. He's the one setting the benchmark, 26.7 for him. But you're right, Brock Pearson, fastest man on track again. He was 0.8 quicker. He's got to be joining the back of this freight train, and he is.
But conditions are obviously getting a lot better, because they've just taken nearly 2 seconds off their lap times on that last lap over what they were doing the lap previous. And here we go now, Brock Pearson catching up to the fast-starting Richie Dibben to really look to try and move into third position and challenge for this race win, as Pearson not quite able to get up the inside there of the Suzuki as they start the run through the Essence.
Yeah, I feel for Dibben. He's done such a great job to stay in that third position for such a long period of this race. He sort of almost deserves that third place trophy, but it doesn't look like it's going to be his, because Brock Pearson now is looking pretty menacing in the background.
Down into AGV corner, it is Ollie Bayliss that leads from Tom Taparis. Has a look over his shoulder. Tom Taparis is on the other side. Can Taparis squeeze it down the inside? Oh, look at the back ends moving around. Bayliss has run wide. Taparis is up the inside. It looked like Tom Taparis even then had the back wheel starting to come off the ground as he was braking into MA corner.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what sort of lap times they do this time around. 26.7 last time, and this time through still 26s, so but another chunk of almost a second off, so low 26s that time for just about everybody. But it is Brock Pearson now who's got past Richie Dibben, and he puts himself into a podium position.
Well, Brock Pearson said his fastest lap of the race on the lap previous, but that one there I think he was held up a fraction. As we see this replay of Tom Taparis, you can see the back end just starting to skate around, and it was only that Ollie Bayliss ran a fraction wide and allowed Tom Taparis through, because Ollie Bayliss was right on the absolute limit there heading into the corner, as was Tom Taparis.
Yeah, absolutely. But Brock Pearson's right there now. He's right on the back. The thing with the track the way it is at the moment, it's very, very difficult to pass. You've almost got to wait for someone to make a mistake, because the line that these guys are on, they've tested. But if you go a little bit wide, a little bit off line, hit a little bit of a damp patch, and you can see a couple more spots of rain on the camera there, it could all go pear-shaped rather easily.
Interesting to see the lap times now, because Pearson is looking to be just having a little bit more pace on board that Yamaha R6, but as they come down to the MA corner, it is Tom Taparis that dives in there late on the brakes. They look like they got better drive out of AGV corner than what Brock Pearson did. You can hit, well, it sounds like traction control working overtime there, doesn't it? Or is it just the bike spinning and bouncing off the rev limiter as Bayliss has a look up the inside. He's late on the brakes. Tom Taparis just lets the brakes off and runs into the spokes.com.au S's a fraction quicker, and the sun is back out once again at, a very changeable Winton Motor Raceway, Steve Martin. It is certainly shaping up to be a cracking last 5 laps of this race.
Yeah, and the lap times are starting to come down now, 25.7 that time round, so the leading trio are into the 25s. Richie Dibben's still stuck in those 27s. Jack Hyde is catching him up as well, so Jack Hyde in 6th there, Ty Lynch as well.
And also Brock Pearson, fastest lap of the race on the last lap with a 25.4, so 0.2 of a second faster than our race leaders Tom Taparis and Ollie Bayliss.
Well, he's there now. It's a matter of getting past, and that's, as we've seen, it's not so easy unless someone in front makes a mistake. But they're starting to get a lot faster around that section now than they have been as well, so that's obviously starting to dry up. And the heat in the tyres now, a little bit of wear, everything's fully warm. You get a lot more feel when you've got that heat in everything as well, so that's got to be helping with these lap times.
So Taparis has pulled out a nice little lead now over Ollie Bayliss and Brock Pearson as they come round through MA corner. One more corner to go to complete this 8th lap of the 12-lap journey. Be interesting to see the lap times at the completion of this lap. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tom Taparis down into the 24s or the low 25s as they come across the line. A 25.140, fastest lap of the race for Tom Taparis now as he's pulled out a 0.7 of a second lead over Ollie Bayliss, with Brock Pearson looking desperate now to try and find a way past.
Yeah, he's definitely the man out front now that is setting the pace, isn't he? He's in control, smooth, doing everything that Tom Taparis does in the most difficult conditions. So good to see. He deserves to be going to Aston tomorrow night to be riding for the 10 Carter team, a team that runs in the World Superbike Championship with Loris Baz. Of course, he's making a wild card in the BSB team, in the BSB race, I should say, at Aston. So good for him to do that and see.
Well, and also he's ridden in some tricky conditions in Germany this year as well, Tom, so this would be a good experience for him here once again. But having a look at Brock Pearson, he is looking now increasingly desperate to try and find a way past. He looks like he's actually being held up a fraction by Ollie, but Ollie, just like his dad, is proving extremely difficult to overtake.
Pearson's wide.
Pearson's wide, and is that Richie Dibbon and Jack Hyde that may be close enough to take advantage? I think Ollie's just had a look under his arm and seen that there's no bike number 17 right behind him.
Yeah, I think he's there, but he lost a lot of ground. I think that he's feeling that he's got the pace to win this, the guy in third place, Brock Pearson. But, once again, he's made that mistake, tried to do that pass. Let's have a look. He's gone deep on the brakes, gone out wide, got a little bit of a rear wheel, too scared to tip it in over the bit of a wet patch there on the side of the track, and he had to let the brake off. Otherwise, it probably would have ended in tears. He's got to do all that work again now to catch back up to the number 68.
Well, it looks like a lot of front-end patter there from Ollie Bayliss as he went through turn 3 as well. That's the YMF corner. The front end was bouncing up and down. Obviously, he's asking a lot of questions of the front end setup of that machine now that, the conditions have changed once again completely in this race. It's impossible to have a setup that's perfect for everything.
Well, you would have started this race with a slippery track with perhaps softer settings, so less spring preload on the front, which means more or less a softer spring on the front and a softer spring on the back, which is ideal when it's a wet track. But when it dries up like this, then the bike just starts to move too much. So, yeah, you can't have both.
Good battle here between Aidan Hayes on 46, Avalon Biddle on bike number 51, and also Jack Passfield on board bike number 42 just behind. All of them Yamaha YZF R6 mounted. Hayes just managing to hold off Biddle at the moment. So this is the battle for 7th position.
Of course, Avalon Biddle over here racing New Zealand Supersport champion Current as well. So good to see her making the trip over the ditch to race here in the Australian Superbike Championship. As we saw earlier on in the show, there's a whole bunch of Kiwis here this weekend, including the officials as well. We always welcome them here. It makes our event so much better.
Yeah, Avalon's been doing a great job since she made her debut in the championship at round 3 at the Bend Motorsport Park, and looking forward to seeing her at Phillip Island and Sydney Motorsport Park for the season finale the first week in November. But it's Aidan Hayes that currently leads the current New Zealand Supersport champion out onto the Motul Pirelli straight to come round and complete 10 laps of this 12-lap journey.
Yeah, she's doing a really good job when you consider she has had a lack of track time. And, the competition, how many laps do you reckon Aidan Hayes has done around here? He's done quite a few. Jack Passfield as well. He seems to have picked up a level this weekend.
And also, they're actually closing in on Ty Lynch on board bike number 85, who led the race through the first corner, Steve. So they've been doing a good job to try and close down Ty Lynch in 6th position. But no one can seem to close down the man on board bike number 7, Tom Taparis.
Nice.
The rider from Goulburn who's heading back overseas once again. But it is Ollie Bayliss and Brock Pearson now that are really trying to decide who will finish on the second step of the podium. Pearson has come from a long way back because he dropped back there when he ran wide in AGV corner. He's made up all of that distance, and as he comes across the line to get the last lap board, he is now well and truly in position to mount an assault for second place in this race, just like he did in race number 1 earlier on today.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got himself in the prime position now. He's seen the weak places and strong places of Ollie Bayliss in front of him. He's got to make a move on this lap if he wants to get that second position. I think that Tom Taparis is safe up the road, but there he goes up the inside. He makes the move. What a great move. That's YMF corner there. Ollie Bayliss won't like that. One of the riders moving off to the side now. Ollie Bayliss's heartbeat will have skipped for a second, but I tell you what, watch Bayliss now. He will not like that.
Well, in the way that that Brock Pearson just two-wheel drifted that bike in, I reckon his heartbeat would have been sky high as well as they come down in towards the start of the S's now. Ollie Bayliss can't pull off a Wayne Maxwell-esque manoeuvre at the start of the S's and will have to try and mount an assault at AGV corner, the same corner that Brock Pearson ran wide at a few laps ago.
It's all going to come down to heavy braking now. Out of Kawasaki if he gets good drive. But, a moment there. A moment for Brock Pearson, but he still keeps the drive. Bayliss can't do it under brakes there.
He's got one opportunity left. That is on the brakes into MA corner, or set up MA corner to try and make an overtake in between there and the final corner before they come out of the Motul Pirelli straight at MA corner. Bayliss up the inside. Can he hold the bike on line? It looks like he does. Pearson tries to come up the inside. Can't get through. And Ollie Bayliss may have just secured second place in the final Motorsports TV Supersport race of the day, behind his good mate Tom Taparis, who takes the victory as they come across the line. Taparis the victor in the end by about 1.3 seconds, and only 0.2 of a second between Bayliss and Pearson. But what a ride from those two. Ollie Bayliss in second place and Brock Pearson in third.
Well, I think my heart's skipped a beat.
Well, that's it for all of the action here at round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. The next round at Phillip Island in 3 weeks' time. First weekend in October. We'll see you there. Well, confirmation of the results for Motorsports TV Australian Supersport Championship. Tom Taparis, the race victor by 1.3 seconds over Ollie Bayliss, taking his fourth podium of the year, and Brock Pearson in third position will take another podium and has solidified his place at second place in the championship with third. Richie Dibben, a great ride from the Suzuki Privateer to take fourth place ahead of Jack Hyde. Avalon Biddle getting the better of Ty Lynch and Aidan Hayes on the last lap to take sixth position. And Jack Passfield and Ryan Sellen round out the top 10.
Reece Belling, good result for him, got up to 11th place. Chris Quinn, always a good finisher there with 12th. 13th was Dallas Skier, and Chandler Cooper making his return to the championship, but good to see him there.
Let's have a look at the highlights now of the final Motorsports TV Supersport race. Tom Taparis, the only rider starting from the front row of the grid. No Nick Limington and no Reed Batty. But it was Ty Lynch on board bike number 85 that led them through turn 1 and turn 2. And on the exit of turn 2, he was joined at the front of the field by his team, a fellow Underground Designs rider, Ollie Bayliss.
Yeah, it wasn't long before Richie Dibben was having the ride of his life. Ollie Bayliss shot to the front, and Dibben tried to go around the outside, but boy, he was pinching himself because he couldn't believe that he was dicing with these guys. Tom Taparis showed everybody who was boss, though, especially on that part of the track. It ended up being a little bit of a battle between these two guys, with Dibben just dropping off the pace. Ollie ran wide and Taparis nipped up the inside, and from that point on, he really did have a good dig at it, and he managed to pull out a 1.8 second lead. Brock Pearson made a mistake. That was probably a missed opportunity there because he was on a bit of a move at that point. He had another dive up the inside. Watch this, two wheels sliding past Ollie Bayliss, and then that got Bayliss's heart beating, fluttering away.
Well, to come back from where he did in 2 laps and take that race win, then he had that big moment there, which essentially compromised his drive out of the next corner and allowed Ollie Bayliss to do that manoeuvre on the second last corner of the 12-lap race to take up the running in second position, and Brock Pearson had no way to come back as Tom Taparis took the victory, and Ollie Bayliss took second and Brock Pearson took third.
Yeah, what a race it was, Phil. Absolutely exciting. Tom Taparis, he really is just amazing. The way that all year long he's made no mistakes. He really has done a good job. You know, he's a champion in the making, and I'm glad that he's heading overseas.
I'm so glad also too for Ollie Bayliss and Brock Pearson. They're down with Emma now.
Brock Pearson, that was an epic battle right up to the end. Another podium for your season as well. Well done.
Yeah, it's really good for me to keep being consistent. I think I'm pretty comfortable now, second in the championship, which is cool. I sort of took that lap by lap, and towards the end, I think I was had a bit better pace than the boys, so I got onto the back of them, and last lap put in a charge, got past Ollie, and then out of one of the rights, I had a bit of a problem, and that just gave him the opportunity to sort of line me up, and he got me, but it's all good. We've had a good weekend. And another podium is what we need. And I just want to thank everyone that supports me and my team that gets me here. They do a great job. And to my mum, my sister and my girlfriend at home, thank you for also helping me out.
On your Brock, see you, PI.
All right, see you, bye.
In second position, Ollie Bayless, welcome back to the podium. Your 4th podium for the season, and obviously a lot better of a result from your race this morning.
Yeah, I mean, we struggled a bit in race 1. We were up there at the start, and then we unfortunately blew an engine up. But yeah, I love that race, and although due to the bit of the rain at the start of the race, it made it really difficult conditions to ride in, but other than that, it was great fun.
Well done, Ollie.
Cheers, Emma.
And ladies and gentlemen, in first position, another win, your 11th for the season. Let's talk about tonight, though, because I heard that you're taking your dad along to Aston. Really exciting times here for you.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Yeah, as of that race, that was like, now you look back on it, it was fun, but at the time, so dodgy, like just rained before and we were all on slicks, so I knew the dirt track guys would come to the front, and of course Ollie taking every opportunity, and he was so good in the beginning, and such a good ride from a 15-year-old in those conditions. But just towards the end, the sun sort of shone on the track, and it was a bit nearly dry. We were going sort of fast, so glad to get another win. And as of tonight, going back over to Aston to race BSB in 2 weeks, which will be really good. And Dad's coming along this time, so he'll be stoked.
Good luck, safe flight.
Thanks, Emma. Cheers.
Well, thanks, Emma. Congratulations to Tom Taparis, Ollie Bayless and Brock Pearson. And, Tom talking himself up there that he reckons his dad's going to be stoked just because he's going away with him. But we're getting ready for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, and Angus Grenfell will start from pole position. He's 2 races from 2 starts so far, and Carter Thompson and Jacob Ralston will join him on the front row of the grid.
Then it's Glenn Nelson, Archie McDonald, and the man who's got 2 podiums so far is Tom Drain, and Glenn Nelson getting through to the podium. Then the third row of the grid, Maxi Gibbons, Marianos Nicholas and Reece Orchard.
Also, too, we had a new lap record set by that man that starts out of row 4, position number 10, Jacob Hatch. Cross Francis and Zach Pettendy will join him on that 4th row of the grid. As we get underway, it looks like for the final race of the juniors, down in towards turn 1. Just having a look, we've got one rider down. That's bike number 36, that's Angus Grenfell.
That's will that bring out another red flag here at the Oceania Junior Cup? No, the rider is up walking away, so they're going to continue with the race, get it underway. So that's going to really throw a spanner in the works of the outright overall, isn't it, Phil? With a DNF for Angus Grenfell, but just shows you, and probably the way Tom Taparis was talking, that there is still a few damp patches on the track. From our vantage point up here, it's dry, but you're noticing down at that bottom end of the circuit where it was getting a little bit wet and still looking a little bit moist and sketchy.
Well, and also, too, that the track very cold as well.
Well, I did a thermal on it. It was only 13 degrees at the start of that Supersport race.
Well, it is bike number 74, Jacob Ralston, that leads. He was the victor of the last Oceania Junior Cup round at Morgan Park Raceway, Braxy. He's had some good finishes so far this weekend, but this is the closest to the front that he's been all weekend, because up until now, it was bike number 36 that had just dominated everything, qualifying and all of the races.
Yeah, but you soon go from... It's a fine line between hero and zero at the minute. Up the inside goes bike number 69, Archie McDonald, round Carter Thompson, but he ran it a little bit wide, which allowed Carter to get back into second position. And while they're doing that, Jacob Ralston will be rubbing his hands together going, keep bashing each other up, guys, because I'm just going to spear myself into the lead as the yellow flag is there. I hope they saw that as they come down now into turn number 1. The spokes S's for the second time. And Archie McDonald getting there, sees the waved yellow flag. They should get the green as they come over the hill, because that's where Angus Grenfell went down in the opening metres of this race.
The next rider coming through is bike number 31, Max Gibbons. Then it's Reece Orchard on 12, Tom Drain, who's been on the podium twice so far this weekend. And is that Glenn Nelson up into 7th position as well? Here's a replay of it. You can see now as they came through there for the first time, unfortunately, it was bike number 36, Angus Grenfell, that just lost the front end and tumbled out of the race. But the good news is he was up and A-OK, and the rest of the race continued on. Start under investigation, looking for some jump starts. There has been a couple in a few classes this weekend.
I think every class has been under the wrath of the officials for the jump starts, as we see Jacob Ralston still leading from Archie McDonald. Carter Thompson, these guys have set up a couple of second lead over Max Gibbons on screen on bike number 31. Reece Orchard from Melbourne there, Tommy Drain as well, that AMA Dirt Track champion. Glenn Nelson, Marianos Nicholas, Jacob Hatch, our new lap record holder, and Cross Francis, the diminutive 12-year-old from Sydney in 10th position. No, he's just relegated Nicholas back to 10th position.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that a bloke that can finish in 9th or 10th position sets the lap record on the last lap of the race? I think twice or three times the lap record went in that second race earlier on today.
It just shows you how level the competition is in this field, and the level of performance of the bikes is very, very similar. As now they're three abreast as they come down the Motul Pirelli straight to start lap number 3. And who's going to dive bomb each other going into turn number 1? So it's Archie McDonald that's got the lead momentarily. Jacob Ralston's got a good inside line to cover himself over Carter Thompson in 3rd position. Now Tom Drain's got in front of these guys as well, and he's just starting to put some, be able to put some decent. Oh, Jacob Ralston up the inside, going down through that semi-off camber corner. It changes camber as you're halfway through it.
Well, as we've spoken before, Braxy, they've all got so many different varieties of AGV helmets. In this race, the 3 lead riders have all got black helmets. It's very hard to try and tell them apart in their matching Racondi leathers and their matching Yamaha R15s.
Well, it's all right to see Archie McDonald because he's the smallest one up there. He has a look out the inside, bike number 69.
Well, and also Jacob Ralston's got the blue air vest over the top of his leathers that gives him a slight ease of spotting.
But Tom Drain, Jacob Hatch and Maxie Gibbons and Reece Orchard having a good battle there in the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, just out of screenshot at the moment. As we come down, it'll be half race distance at the end of this lap, and definitely won't be the last time we see a change of lead. At the moment, Jake Ralston, who's probably the tallest out of the 3 guys here, you can see how he's trying to hunch himself over to get underneath the screen of the R15. And up the inside, no, I thought Carter Thompson was going to have a bit of a dip there, but he's decided, no, I might save that for later on in the race and surprise you all.
Well, remember, Carter Thompson was the young rider that made an instant impact by winning the first 2 rounds of the Oceania Blue Crew Junior Talent Cup, and has, I think, came into this round tied with Angus Grenfell on points for the championship lead. So he's looking to try and get some points back now on Grenfell, who fell at this exact location on the first lap of the race.
Yeah, not a way to end your weekend, but it's all a learning curve for them. So up the inside as Ralston's gone from the lead back to 3rd position, with Archie McDonald taking the lead on bike number 69, then Carter Thompson there. So it's a movable sandwich. Would you say this is a movable feast as well? A feast of action as they come down the back straight into the sweeper. Oh, Carter Thompson was having a good look there.
Jacob Ralston around the outside. He's setting himself up for a Wayne Maxwell manoeuvre down into the start of the S's at YMF corner.
Unfortunately, he hasn't got the horsepower to snap it up there into the inside.
Well, as they come around through the S's now, it is bike number 69. That is Archie McDonald who leads the race. And Archie McDonald actually finished in 5th position in race 2 earlier on today. So having a much better ride in this outing, the final outing for the day for the Oceania Blue Crew Junior Talent Cup. Of course, the pathway to MotoGP, Braxy.
Yep, the all junior racing's the pathway to MotoGP if you've got the talent to do it. And a couple of these kids have actually applied for the Red Bull Rookies when you're talking about the road to MotoGP. One of them being Agnes Grenfell, who crashed out. Cross Francis is one. Jacob Ralston is another. That is having a dip to see if they can get selected. And
also the victor of this championship too will get entry into the Asia Talent Cup for 2020 as well. Fastest lap of the race, Cross Francis back in 7th position, a 1:45.3. And to give you an idea of how much colder the track is, that's probably about half a second off the new lap record. And down the inside, Ralston.
And makes it stick too. Ralston was third at the start of the Motul Pirelli straight as they're on their fifth lap. They'll get the last lap board at the end of this one. And look at the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th behind them. We just saw them out at the back of shot then. And they're all over each other as well as the closing stage as this race begin to take hold.
Was that 4 or 5 of them in that battle for 4th place at the moment as we wait for our leaders to come through the Suzuki sweeper? It is still Jacob Ralston on bike number 74 that leads from Carter Thompson, the victor at the first round. So we've got the victor of the last round leading from the victor of the first 2 rounds in the championship as they make their way down through YMF corner and start the long run through the S's. 1.5 laps to go now for the final race for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup.
Tom
Look at
Drain
this battle.
still holding them off there from Jacob Hatch, Cross Francis, Reese Orchard. What's happened to, I'm just trying to find out what happened to Grant Nelson. He was up there for Glenn Nelson. He's dropped down to 13th. He was in that leading bunch for a while, down into the 150s. Might have had a little bit of a scare with the conditions and thought I'll just back it off and bring it home so Dad doesn't have to do too much work. But these guys actually closing them down in the battle for 1st, 2nd and 3rd with Tom Drain out in front. No, I think Tom Drain now he's still there in 4th position.
They were all in the 45s, that group behind. I was actually, as they came past, I was just having a look at Jacob Hatch's leathers. That's a fair indication of how his weekend's been so far. They are scuffed up. There's stuff hanging off them everywhere because he's been riding them in the Supersport 300, Yamaha R3 and the Oceania Blue Crew Junior Cup. And we are set for a final 3-kilometre last lap showdown with now 5, 6, 7 riders all into this lead group. The lead now is Archie McDonald from Carter Thompson and Jacob Ralston, but Tom Drain, Jacob Hatch and Cross Francis are well and truly into this mix as well.
Oh, bike number 14, Jake Hatch has come up the inside as well as he moved up to about 2nd or 3rd position in that marauding movement going he has.
At second, I can see all the bits of leathers flapping around everywhere, Braxy.
And he's going to try around the outside of the Suzuki sweeper. Up the inside comes Carter Thompson as well. Jacob Ralston is right in the mix of it. Where's Tom Drain? I'm waiting for him to come down and add his little 2 cents worth into it.
There he is behind Jacob Ralston in 5th position. Oh, Hatch goes up the inside, tries to get through for the race lead. Was lucky to hang on to 2nd position. Has a look over his shoulder. Is that Carter Thompson trying to slide up the inside there as Hatch runs wide, but he's got the right entry line into the Kawasaki S's. We're only a couple of corners from home and all hell has broken loose.
And Archie McDonald's managed to keep himself out of that bit of street fighting, and he's got a lead of about 3 or 4 bike lengths at the moment as they head down the YMI back straight into AGV corner, the final left-hander of this final lap of the final race for the Oceania Junior Cup here at Winton for 2019.
Well, down the final straight and coming down into the MA corner. It is Archie McDonald that's got the lead, but who's coming strong now on the corners? Oh, we've got a big crash there. That's Jacob Hatch has gone down once again. Jacob Ralston's gone off the circuit. We've got another rider down there. That's 59. That's Tom Drain, who's been on the podium twice so far this weekend. So all of those riders won't make it to the finish, but Archie McDonald will take the win from, I think it's Carter Thompson that should take 2nd position, and Reese Orchard will come up and take 3rd position on bike number 12. Well, an exciting finish once again for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, the final race on the program for that class this weekend. Congratulations to Archie McDonald. I think that might be his first win in the class, and he is celebrating in style as he comes round now on his slow down lap. The incident at turn 11 under investigation from race control. Looked like Jacob Hatch actually got tagged from behind. I couldn't quite see who it was that tagged him there as the rest of this massive field make their way across the start-finish line to get the checkered flag. So bike 59, Tom Drain, and also Jacob Hatch picking their bikes up and hopefully getting round to complete the race. What an exciting race for the final Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup race of the weekend. The win going to Archie McDonald, Carter Thompson and Reese Orchard. It's going to make the championship extremely close now. With I think Carter Thompson will actually take the championship lead after that win from Archie McDonald, confirmed now by race control by 0.175 of a second over Carter Thompson. Reese Orchard in 3rd, Cross Francis in 4th, Max Gibbons 5th, Zach Pettendy in 6th, Marianus Nicholas in 7th place, Jamie Port in 8th, Jacob Ralston in 9th, and Varis Fleming rounding out the top 10. Lucas Quinn in 11th, Glenn Nelson 12th, Jay Russo in 13th, Cormac Buchanan in 14th, and another one of our Kiwi visitors, Toby James in 15th, Hunter Diplock 16th, Patrick Bognar in 17th, Lincoln Knight 18th, Tom Connors and Dominic Fletcher round out the top 20, with Tom Drain and Jacob Hatch just getting across the line after that incident at turn 11 on the last lap. And Angus Grenfell, our championship leader, heading into this race. It was 2 races from 2 starts so far this weekend, unfortunately, crashing out early as we see them come through the spokes.com.au for the first time. And there goes our race leader, Angus Grenfell, out of the race at the second corner. That left Jacob Ralston on 74, bike number 69, Archie McDonald, and Carter Thompson on 21 to have a 3-man war for the first 5 laps of the 6-lap race, until on the last lap they were joined by another group of 5 riders to make a huge battle, battling it out for the last lap of the race. As they came down into the spokes.com.au for the final time, they were joined by Jacob Hatch, Tom Drain, also bike number 12, Reece Orchard was there in the mix as well, with the yellow helmet on towards the back of the group as they made their way through the S's. Archie McDonald had enough of a lead that he was far enough away from the pursuing pack that were changing positions at every single corner. As they came down to this last corner, you can see there that I think Tom Drain and Jacob Ralston and also Jacob Hatch all sort of came together as they were all looking for the same piece of tarmac into the final corner. Archie McDonald took the win, and Carter Thompson a safe second place. Reece Orchard, his first podium of the year, back in 3rd position. Congratulations to Archie McDonald, and we'll hear from the top 3 in just a moment. There's Damien Cudlin, the coach of the Oceania Blue Crew Junior Cup, doing a great job here this weekend with all of his young riders. 26 riders in the class. A great package put together by Motorcycling Australia and also Yamaha, AGV, TCX Boots and Racondi Leathers. Well, MA calendar of events coming up. We have the Australian Junior Road Racing Championship Round 5 on the 13th to 15th of September from the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia. The Yamaha Off-Road Australian Championships Rounds 10 and 11 from the 14th and 15th of September at Penshurst in Victoria, and the Australian ATV Motocross Nationals 21st to 22nd of September at Canberra in the ACT. The Australian Historic Road Racing Championship the 27th to the 30th of September at Collie Motorplex in Western Australia. The Australian Junior Dirt Track Championship the 28th to the 29th of September from Somersby in New South Wales, and the KTM Australian Junior Motocross Championship the 28th of September to the 5th of October from Gilman Speedway in South Australia. Down to Mark Brax with our top 3.
Thanks, Phil. Mate, what a race. Reece Orchard, you were there right at the end. You managed with the pack to catch up to him and did really well.
Yeah, I did all right. I sort of started off the back of the grid because I didn't qualify very good, but I sort of pulled my way through, and I stayed on the bike. Unfortunately, Jacob Hatch and Tom Drain in that crashed at the second last corner, so I managed to pull through after that. But I felt like I had a pretty fun time. It's pretty good.
Good way to finish the weekend, mate. We'll let you go because you've got another race to do. Well done.
Thanks, Braxy.
No worries, Reece Orchard. We'll get Archie McDonald quickly as well over here. Archie, mate, good way to finish the weekend. I know you got the R3 Cup to do, but, man, you've come through at the end really well and avoided all that carnage behind you.
Yeah, it was a really good race. I just worked hard and it paid off. It was good.
So how did you manage to do that? Because you were swapping positions left, right and centre.
Well, last race, I was second and then they all got me up the end, so I just waited until the end and, held it and, got second. It was great.
All right, mate, we'll let you go and get ready for the next race as we move on to our second position. Carter Thompson, well done, mate. There was some great action out there, mate.
Yeah, it was great racing. All the boys did great.
So tell us about it. What was your favourite part of it?
Staying on the bike.
Well, at least you stayed with them, unlike some of your competitors.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, see you at the next round.
Yeah, see ya.
No worries. The big action on track, but not many words when it comes to speaking at the moment. Back upstairs.
Yeah, thanks, Brax. The R3 Cup is up next. Before that, we'll have a short break and then back to Winton Motor Raceway for the last race on today's program.
We are the innovators, the specialists, the ones who power the wheels of progress. Extraordinary innovation for on-road and off-road terrain. Estacore technology for improved engine protection and performance. We are going a step beyond to a new generation of motor oils. This is the vision of innovation. The new 300V squared.
Don't miss a second of the action. Every corner, every shift, every heartbreak. See your motorsport as it should be, live and free. Download your Motorsport TV experience now.
Our business is making dreams come true. Since 2002, we've realised over 130,000 Yamaha dreams and financed more than 200,000 motorcycle and boating passions. We've helped turn the smallest dreams and the largest dreams into reality. Are you ready to make your dream a reality?
Next, we head to Headley, Victoria for rounds 10 and 11 from September 14th to 15th, where our champions will be crowned.
Welcome back to Winton Motor Raceway for round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Last race on today's program, the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup is on the grid and they are just about ready to go for their final race. Maxi Stouffer will start from pole position. Ben Baker not racing today after an incident yesterday. Supposed to start out of second, and Hunter Ford will start out of position number 3 on the front row of the grid. Row 2 will be Brandon Demery, Lockie Taylor and Luke Johnson.
Matty Windell, Max Stouffer on the 4th row of the grid. Hang on, there's been a bit of a... Down we go to the 7th row of the grid. We've got Stephanie James, Josh Noden and Dominic Fletcher. But back on the 4th row, it was Matt Windell, Harry Parker and Rod Smith. As they come down now, and there's a few frantic people down there in that Parc Ferme as they tried to get off one bike and get onto another, Phil.
Well, how many juniors were there that are racing in the Blue Crew Junior Cup that are also racing R3 and Supersport
and
300?
Supersport,
They would have done a lot of races here this weekend. And as we mentioned with poor old Jacob Hatch, he had leather bits hanging off his leathers everywhere, and now he's got a bit more after a crash at the penultimate corner of that last race.
Yeah, well, just so good to see that second bunch catch up with them. As you said, the leading trio were slowing themselves down and the rest of them thinking, hang on, we can have a piece of this, and they did.
I wonder if there's anyone gave them the tuck in behind me that got totally ignored like it does on just about every other occasion. Well, this is it, Braxy. Last race of the day. 8 laps for the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup. Maxi Stouffer, the only rider starting from the front row of the grid on board bike number 27 as the red flag leaves the front of the grid. We're ready to go racing. We're in the starter's hands. The revs rise and Max Stouffer gets a cracking start, but so does Hunter Ford. from the third position on the front row of the grid as well on board bike number 20. But as they head down towards turn 1, it is Max Stouffer that leads, and is that Luke Johnson once again that's come up into a second position on board bike number 25.
Yeah, he has done he's a big hole shot dirt tracker. He knows that as he gets right onto the tail of Max Stouffer. Max has been jumping off the line perfectly in every race he's contested so far, but apart from that one he crashed in yesterday where he was still leading when it happened, but he's been drifting backwards. He's having some rear end setup problems during the course of the weekend. And hopefully you'll be able to keep it all in line, this one in the final race of this round 5 of the 2019 ASBK Championship here at Winton Raceway.
Well, the good news for Lockie Taylor fans is he's finally got a good start, Braxy. He's up into third place on board bike number 151, and we might get a chance to have a look at that fantastic new livery that he has debuted here this weekend as he sits just ahead of Hunter Ford and Zach Levy, with Tristan Adamson also getting off the line well on board bike number 864 to be up in 6th position ahead of Brandon Demery. And Johnny Littris, is it time for Johnny Littris to get a final run at the front this weekend? It's been a difficult weekend for him by his elevated standards.
Yeah, well, he didn't make the test down here, and he was behind the 8 ball at the first day on Friday when he crashed early on, and it was a matter of catch up and trying to find a setup and then getting comfortable with the track, because the track conditions were forever changing, and there was not one session that was the same as the other. As we come onto the straight to start lap number 2 of this magnificent event here for the YMF R3 Cup. It's still Max Stouffer up the inside. I tell you what, Luke Johnson had a good look then. Hunter Ford there in third. He's just got in front of Lockie Taylor in the battle for third position. 151. There's Brandon Demery and Zach Levy, the assassin, just standing there waiting to strike.
Well, look who's right behind him. It's bike number 308, Johnny Littris as well. He's just getting the better of Tristan Adamson on that the run down into the spokes.com.au S's. As Stouffer just runs it out wide on the apex of that long sweeping Suzuki corner. Johnson right behind him.
Johnson's riding a great race there at the moment. You can see by his body language he's confident in what he's doing, and he's just waiting for a chance. And is that a bit of wetness on the track out the back of towards the switchback section?
I don't know, but it's Brandon Demery who just had a massive lunge up the inside of Lockie Taylor to take up the running in 4th position. That was a big move from Brandon Demery on board bike number 11, whose confidence has just gone up a notch every single race this weekend, getting fantastic results. And it's amazing how he's come from, being so low in confidence coming into this round to now he can do anything on that bike.
And even what he's come back from and done towards the end of 2017 with that accident at Phillip Island. A strong person's got to come back from that, which he is, and he's putting that to good stead in this race during the course of the weekend. So it's still Maxi Stouffer leading the way as they start their third lap. Luke Johnson there in a very handy position. Hunter Ford, Brandon Demery, Lockie Taylor just in front of his good mate Zach Levy, and as you said, Johnny Littris is there in a strong position in 7th. Tristan Adamson, Matt Rindell and Jake Rolston, after a dynamic race previously in the Oceania Junior Cup, is back there in 10th. And Rishi Orchard, who was on the podium in the juniors, is back there in 11th position.
Well, I haven't got the R3 history of the championship in 2019 at hand, but just having a look at Luke Johnson's performances in the Supersport 300 class, I don't think he's cracked a top 10 all year, and yet this weekend he has been up the front in all classes, doing some great riding, and this on his R3, the final race of the program today, he's now leading it with Hunter Ford, who has been a front runner in this championship for many, many years, right on his tail, trying to find a way past. As Demery goes up the inside of Maxi Stouffer.
Yeah, well, Max Stouffer's gone back from first to third in a couple of corners there, with allowing Luke Johnson and Hunter Ford through.
And he just got the signal from Brandon Demery, stuck behind me, and I think Max just went, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. That'd be about right. They got no respect for reputations, because they're trying to make their own reputation at the moment. As up the inside, bike number 20. 20 Hunter Ford has a look. Brandon Demery looked like he was going to get back on the gas before he got to the apex then to try and upset them all. Now, Maxi Stouffer hasn't dropped off too much, so it must have been a slight mistake that he made. And then Lockie Taylor, Zach Levy, they're just at the rear end of this bunch.
Well, Maxi's having a big look up the inside of Demery down into turn 1, gets the job done, puts the number 27 machine back up into third place behind Luke Johnson. He'll have a big lunge at Luke Johnson as they come down the inside at turn 3. No, Brandon Demery has a big lunge down the inside of Max, can't quite get the job done. And isn't this class a fantastic one for Action Braxy, as is Supersport 300, with so many overtaking manoeuvres pretty much every corner?
Well, I think for the last 2 years, the championship hasn't been decided until the last 100 metres of the final lap of the final race. And it's sure to go down to it again this year. Was now, at the moment, Hunter Ford, the big lanky guy from New South Wales, leads the race. Luke Johnson in second. Max Stouffer's got back in front of Brandon Demery after he was back in fourth momentarily. But look on the back of this in fifth position. Zach Levy with just under 4.5 laps to run. Anything is possible right now.
Yeah, right on cue. Pretty much he just arrives all the time at the end of the race, right when the points and the accolades get handed out. That's when Zach Levy arrives on the scene.
And Hunter Ford, has he got a couple of bike length lead at the moment as Max Stouffer's got back into second position after that momentarily lapse of concentration caused that little mistake that allowed Luke Johnson and Hunter Ford and for a time Brandon Demery to get through in front of him.
So we've now got a 6-bike lead group being led at the moment by Hunter Ford from Max Stouffer, Luke Johnson, Brandon Demery, Zach Levy, Lachlan Taylor. Then it's a little bit of a gap back to Johnny Litchis as Max goes down the inside of Hunter Ford and into the lead. Remember 12 months ago, this was where he scored his first race win, and he wants to round out the weekend with another one on board bike number 27.
5 out of 6 last year. He's not going to repeat that effort, but he's certainly not going to try and go out a winner this afternoon in this final race of the weekend. But Hunter Ford's not going to have any of it if he's got his way. Hunter Ford, don't keep looking around. You know they're there. Where else are they going to be?
He's got a touch of the Fabian Ferrays about him, hasn't he? They come through the Suzuki sweeper. Well, there's nothing between this top group of riders now. Top 4, 5, 6 are all still there. I was just thinking that maybe Lockie Taylor had dropped off a fraction, but no, he's still there on board bike number 151.
I'll tell you what, Brandon Demery's got a lot of confidence in the front end. The way, the angle of attack that he went in that first YMF hairpin, and to manage to make it stick without running it wide and make it steer around the corner. But Maxi Stouffer, he's gone from the lead back to fourth. Now he's back into the lead in all of 4 laps. What can happen in the next 4 laps?
So through the AGV corner and down the back straight now towards MA corner. As they come, it is still Max Stouffer that leads from Hunter Ford. To see what's happening behind this. If Brandon Demery, no, he's not under attack from Luke Johnson on board the 25 machine. Out onto the Motul Pirelli straight to complete 5 laps of the 8-lap journey. Down to 9 kilometres to go to sort out our race winner. Here comes Hunter Ford. He's got great drive for probably one of the biggest, tallest riders in the class, and he goes down into the lead, followed by Brandon Demery. And then Max Stouffer has gone from first position back to third in the space of, 2 corners.
Metres.
Well, in 2 corners, essentially, turns 1 and 2, the spokes S's.
And where's Zach Levy? You've got Lockie Taylor just tagging onto the back or trying to get onto the back of this bunch with Luke Johnson. There's Zach Levy there. He was threatening there for a while, but lost a bit of momentum. Up the inside through the sweep. It comes Brandon Demery. Great move from there. Holds it tight. Manages to get the late apex. Flicks it from left to right. And does that allow Max Stouffer a bit of a line to get in front? No, it doesn't. But another great move. Like I'm saying, how much confidence has Brandon Demery got in that front end, particularly through that sweeper, where you've got a hell of a lot of weight on the front end, trying to push it through and steer it through that long, long left.
Well, you can see that he goes in there and tips it in, but then he also takes the line that a lot of the fast riders do, where you can run out the middle of the corner and then come back to go over the crest and tip it to the right to start the run through the S's.
And that also slows up your opposition because he takes them out with him to guide them momentarily so they don't slip up the inside. But here comes Max Stouffer up the inside going into MA turn 11. Under brakes, great brake check there to move right through it. Hunter Ford had to accept that with no argument. Well, there might be an argument in about 300 metres time.
And how much was that just Jamie Stouffer? Didn't even look like he was trying. Straight up the inside. Max is every day getting more and more a replica of his 4 times Australian road racing champion father, Jamie.
Well, I can't wait to see Max at the hay shed in a couple of weeks' time, because that was Jamie Stouffer's one of his preferred passing opportunities at Phillip Island.
I think there was only a couple of riders that were paired to overtake there. Jamie Stouffer was one of them, and
Mike Jones did it a couple of times.
Yeah, there was also one rider in World Superbike, and Maverick Vinales, I think, has done it in GP as well. Oh, Hunter Ford using the exit of the Kawasaki corner there as a bit of a berm. Actually, no, that was the exit of Pirelli corner.
Pirelli corner, turn number 4 up through the sweeper. early on in the lap as they're on their 7th lap of 8 laps. They'll get the last lap board at the end of this one. So at the moment, Brandon Demery is up by those 2 very, very determined moves. If we get a replay here as he gets out to the ripple strip, big head shake on the machine.
He literally did use it as a berm, didn't he? Because that kept him from running off the track.
This is how quick these guys think when they think, oh, it's turning to not the best, but they just pin it and use it to their advantage. But Brandon Demery, after those 2 determined passes, one on Maxi Stouffer and one on Hunter Ford, has really started to stretch this out and is getting close to the final lap.
Well, coming down through these last couple of corners now, through the MA corner, out onto the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight. It is Brandon Demery that leads, and look at the lead that he's managed to build up over those last couple of laps as Hunter Ford, Max Stouffer and Luke Johnson have disputed those positions. Max Stouffer back up into
second position.
It's going to make the championship very interesting because I think Hunter Ford has done just enough this weekend to extend his championship lead fractionally over Johnny Littress.
And Zach Levy.
And Brandon Demery and Max Stouffer will be actually equal on points if they finish in these same positions. But I think one thing's guaranteed, Braxy, there's going to be some turn-up before the end of the race. Hunter Ford is looking desperate to try and find his way past the young man from Mullbring, Maxi Stouffer.
If you ever wanted to know if a fortune teller was on a game, you'd bring it to one of these races and say, who's going to be leading the next lap?
Yeah, well, who's going to be leading next corner? That would be even more difficult. So there we go, through the start of the S's now. It is still Stouffer leading through Kawasaki corner. Luke Johnson is still there and well and truly in contention for a podium position as well in 4th place on board bike number 25. By far his best weekend of the year so far.
But Brandon Demery has just cleared out into the distance, have a lead now of nearly 2 seconds. And a fastest lap of the race, that previous lap of 1:31.6. Second, well, at least a second in front of everybody else on track.
The only rider in the 31s the entire race. There he goes through MA corner, Brandon Demery. Oh, Hunter Ford! I think he got in there very hot, had to maybe just pull the bike up a bit because he looked like he had to change his line. I don't think he's going to be able to slipstream Max Stouffer to the line as they come down there now. It will be Max Stouffer, I think, that will take the second position from Hunter Ford as they came across the line. Yes, Max Stouffer takes second position from Hunter Ford in 3rd. Luke Johnson will take 4th position. Lockie Taylor getting the better of Zach Levy. Oh no, Zach Levy actually got overtaken by Johnny Littress on the line to go back to 7th position. Littress finished in 6th. Adamson, Matt Rindell and Jacob Ralston round out the top 10 as the rest of this massive field of riders now come through and across the line to complete their 8-lap journey, the last race on today's program. But congratulations to Brandon Demery, our race winner. Max Stouffer in 2nd position and Hunter Ford in 3rd. Championship points will be very interesting, as we said. Hunter Ford on 169 points should lead the championship from Littress on 164. But Demery takes the race win. Another strong effort from Brandon Demery this weekend. Stouffer 2nd, Hunter Ford in 3rd, Luke Johnson 4th, Lockie Taylor in 5th, Johnny Littress in 6th, Zach Levy in 7th, Christian Adamson in 8th, Matt Rindell in 9th, and Jacob Ralston, fresh from the juniors, rounds out the top 10. Another rider fresh from the juniors, Reece Orchard in 11th position, Ryan Smith in 12th, Harry Parker in 13th, Silas Bunting 14th, Jacob Hatch 15th, Zach Pettendy 16th, Archie McDonald 17th, Steph James in 18th position, Josh Noden in 19th, and Patrick Bognar in 20th position. Have a look at the highlights now of the final Yamaha R3 Cup race of the day. And Max Stouffer got a great start and led them down through turn 1 for the first time. But Luke Johnson also, the former dirt tracker, got a cracking start on board bike number 25. So did Lockie Taylor on 151, and they were in 2nd and 3rd positions as they came through turns 1 and 2 for the first time. Luke Johnson got into the lead of the race and was able to lead the field through the S's on board bike number 25 with Hunter Ford and Brandon Demery, Max Stouffer right on his tail, with the top 6 starting to get away from the rest of the field. Stouffer found his way back up into the lead ahead of Hunter Ford on board bike number 20 as Brandon Demery continued to make his way forward, and it wasn't long until Brandon Demery found himself in the lead and with a handy lead over the pursuing pack of Hunter Ford, Max Stouffer and Luke Johnson. As they came through MA corner for the final time, it was Demery leading, Stouffer in 2nd. Hunter Ford had a last lap second last corner lunge, but it wasn't quite enough. And Max Stouffer got the run out onto the start-finish straight to sew up second position. And Hunter Ford took third, with Johnson taking fourth. Lockie Taylor there on 151, finished in fifth position. A good strong finish to the weekend for one of our usual front runners, who has been a little bit further back than we would normally expect. So I'll be hearing from our top three in just a moment. Brendan Demery there taking his gloves off after his best race of the weekend. Took the race win yesterday afternoon when Hunter Ford got pinged with a jump start penalty, but he wasn't happy with that because he finished second on the road. But I'm sure he's going to be happy with this one. Getting congratulations from his dad there. Hunter Ford, as we said, leads the championship on 169 points from Johnny Littress on 164. Zach Levy on 156. Brandon Demery on 153, tied with Max Stouffer for fourth and fifth position. Lockie Taylor in sixth on 138. So that's 31 points between the top six in the championship. Johnson, Harry Curry, who was absent this weekend, Tristan Adamson and Jacob Ralston round out the top 10. Let's hear from our top three. They're with Mark Brax.
Well, Hunter Ford third on the race, but still a pretty good round for you as well, even though you didn't win it.
Yeah, I wish I could have won the race. I tried my hardest, but yeah, rear tyre was gone, couldn't get any grip, nearly high-sided a few times.
Well, I'll tell you what, using a berm, one of the curves as a berm wasn't too bad a trick either.
Yeah, well, it was pretty much just sliding me out there, so I had to just use all the track.
All right, we'll see you back in bigger and better at Phillip Island.
Yeah, hopefully, thanks.
No worries as we move on to second position. Maxi Stouffer, good to see you back on the podium, but you've had a very testing weekend, haven't you? You've had the bike and then you've been struggling to keep the performance of it and the momentum too, but you've managed to pull it back this race.
Yeah, I've the last couple of Super Sport 300 races I've been struggling for grip pretty badly, but we made a setup change and changed it back to how it was yesterday, and it was working pretty good.
And I like some of your passing moves as well. You're very determined. You don't look like you're even really trying to pass.
Yeah, well, that's probably my weakest point at the moment is passing people, so that's something I've got to work on.
Well, you'll need that for Phillip Island, mate. Best of luck, and we'll see you there in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
No worries as we move on to our winner in the race, and I believe winner of the round, Brandon Demery. Happy birthday, mate. I see you can't celebrate much better than that.
Yeah, thanks, Braxy. It's about time we got back up here, and we worked so hard, and everyone in the teams worked so hard, and we're stoked to be back. It's
been a hard 18 months for you, mate, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been very difficult. The team really put their head down this year, and we made a bit of a philosophy change with what we do. Went away from that's what we've always done, and it used to work, and we're just trying new things every weekend, and it seems to be working.
All right, mate, all the best, and revel in this because you deserve it. Well done, Brandon Demery.
Yeah, got to thank the whole Rustic Flooring, Surefire Security, MGM Building Maintenance team for helping me out. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate everything you do.
No worries. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Braxy. Great to hear from our top three there, and congratulations to Brandon Demery, our round winner, on 68 points over Hunter Ford on 59 points. Hunter Ford, the championship leader, by 5 points over Johnny Littress. Of course, Max Stouffer crashed out of one of the races this weekend, which certainly did not help his championship challenge as well. Well, let's go down to Emma to hear some final thoughts from Winton Motor Raceway, round 5 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship.
Thank you. Great job done to Phil Harlem and to this guy here, Steve Martin. Steve, what a drama-filled day. Some great close racing, but tough conditions for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, today had absolutely everything involved in it. There was a little bit of rain, a little bit of controversy, some great close racing, which is what everybody wants to see. And, in the end, I think everything worked out. It was a testing day, but overall, some happy people, trophies given out. I'm happy.
Thanks, Steve. We're looking forward to hopefully better weather at Phillip Island, which is not too far away, from the 4th to the 6th of October. We hope you can join us there. In the meantime, stay up to date with everything ASBK, asbk.com.au. Thank you very much at home for watching. I'm Emma Francesco. See you next time.